Oh, what, you got a selfie stick?
Yeah, just makes life easier.
I got me tough one for
You got it with
Christmas.
you?
So yeah.
Go on then.
Remember that in Spain.
So while we're waiting for the others, this is part of the process that I really want you guys to get into with like being an ambassador, where you either host something at your house or you host it at someone else's house. So that after Supercharge Your Life, what we'll start doing is, and I'll come to them as well, you know, whenever you want to hold one where you bring friends round, family round, let me know. The first one, every single one of you do, I'll be at. And what that's going to do is I'll be able to sit there and really criticise you. No, I'll be able to sit there and just to give you some friendly nudging, because anytime you host stuff, what you're going to find is that some stuff is going to happen that you didn't like or that you can improve, and some stuff that's going to happen off the cuff that you're going to want to start including every single time. And one of those things I'm now going to explain. So I thought about doing a totally different drink. What?
Not enough light. Yeah?
Not enough.
Not enough.
In that case, you probably want this one.
Great, thanks. Fantastic. How about that?
Be a checklist that you guys can literally go through and just to make sure that you haven't forgotten anything. That's how simple this is going to get. So one of the first things is going to be to prepare a welcoming drink with one of the superfood mixes. And because we had chocolate last week, I was going to change it this week. And then I thought, hang on a minute, I'm going to end up giving them so many things that they're going to get span out. Just give them one thing to focus on. But right at the last minute, I thought, right, I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I want to see how sensitive you guys are. So everyone take a drink, and I want to see if you can tell what the magic ingredient is.
Garlic.
Voila.
There you go.
Voila.
Merci.
Thanks.
Voila.
Oh, pink one. Mucho gracias.
Oh, it's pink and blue.
Thank you.
Right. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Right.
Yeah.
For the health of it.
For the health of it.
Cheers.
Frankie did.
Thanks.
Hey, what happened?
You don't like it,
Oh,
Sam?
there's
Say
always
no,
one.
not
Bounce.
spin it.
Oh, that does have a certain.
Sorry,
That's all right. Down on my hands and knees already.
Oh, no.
Banana.
Banana. Okay.
Yeah,
Has
definitely
that
banana.
different,
Cinnamon.
Nope. The banana is the same as last week, yeah?
You know it.
there's something else.
There's bits. Is it
Yeah.
the bits you're talking about?
Might be.
Green bits.
What is it?
Watery, and it's, I think it's got lighter than last week.
Is it? You haven't crushed your pills in there, have you?
No.
Well, it's not the mint because I'm eating that.
It's sweeter.
So it's
It's thicker.
now I can taste the mint.
Has it got drinking chocolate in it?
It's
No.
not
No, no. It's
Why am I
not.
thinking nutmeg? It's not.
No.
Right, it's really simple.
No, I can't.
All I did was blend up some mint in it. So it's exactly the same as last week.
I was just
Stronger.
tasting the mint.
Yeah, exactly the same. And what you find is that as you start to get really sensitive, you're just going to be able to spot things in certain foods. And you won't do it with your brain. You know, you're not going to get academic and start studying stuff and then realise that you've nailed it. No, you can only do it by connecting to feeling. So the reason why I just wanted to quickly mention that is I want you guys to get creative with doing something that takes a millisecond, because this is how much time it took. I cheated this week, so I didn't even go and make my milk. So all I did was I went and bought the milk from Holland and Barrett. But you're gonna have cheat days. Like today, I've been chasing my tail all day today, purely because I had to get a lawyer out of a certain deal, and dealing with lawyers takes a bit of time. So the time I thought I was going to have when I came back here, didn't have it. So, and you're going to have that. And sometimes when you press for time, that's a great metaphor for life, because it's like, right, that's as far as you'll go off the bandwagon. Having something that is already it's gone through a process. It's nowhere near as good as making, milk ourselves, but it's still plant-based. It's still vegan. It's still there's no harming animals that's gone into it. You're still getting life force energy going in. Then all I did was mix it, so that went in there. I did make it thicker this week deliberately, because you can also do, when you're doing things like this, like when it comes to summer, you can do exactly the same thing. You put some ice cubes in it, a stack load of ice cubes, so then it comes out really thick. You know, like the ice cream we had at Detox Your Life? Similar to that, but this time we're doing it with superfood. So when they come in, you put a little spoon in there, and they all get their little thing. So the idea is that when everyone arrives, it's nothing goes into it, but it's a little welcoming drink that they have when they come, and it's a nice little surprise, and it gives you something to talk about. Because even just while they're having the drink, when we get those the leaflets done with all the product information, you'll be able to hand them out and say, just look at the benefits that's in this drink that we've just given you, that you're now going to start to benefit from. And suddenly they're sitting there, and there's no alcohol, there's nothing toxic, and it just breeds a new conversation. And you can do it with, like next week, I'll do it with the alkaline protein, so we'll do a green version of something. And by changing one little ingredient, you know, you don't have to put banana in. All I've done is taken banana, because most people like bananas. Taken a milk, because usually the milk will contain some kind of sort of sugars in, which, when it's a welcoming drink, you want it to tickle their taste buds. And you've got to remember that the people that are coming in to these ambassador parties, they're going to be used to drinking, they're going to be used to eating meat, they're going to be used to having processed foods, they're going to be used to having dairy, all of that stuff. So it's important that you meet them where they're at with something that they can go, I thought that was going to taste like shit, but that tastes pretty good actually. And suddenly, their association to superfoods or really becoming healthy isn't a negative one. Because a lot of people think, yeah, but getting healthy is boring. Getting healthy, you have to sacrifice all the good stuff. And the idea is that we show them it's actually the total opposite. Because when you get this way, you will never be able to go back to the old habits. So, any little questions around that?
Why is there some extra in the flavour?
Is that Prezzies for the
Not
Who wants one then?
I'm
Go
sorry
for it.
starving.
Yeah, I'll have one too. I know, I just
Me
poured them out.
too.
Oh, we've got
Leave
these
on the
two.
cashew.
Yeah.
And
Duke.
What about Sharon? Salute.
The health of it.
for the health of it.
Sharon gets my lips around it.
Nice.
Right.
Maybe edit that bit.
So the other thing
Possible edit.
is, and again, these are only suggestions. None of this you have to do, but these are going to be in a tick box, and you can decide whether you want to tick the box or whether you don't. But at least doing it this way, you're not going to be left thinking, shit, what do I do? It's a fail-proof way of doing it. So all I've done here, same thing, fresh mint leaves in there, hot water in there. So when we go through, or wherever you decide to hold your party, and by the time when the party's done, when we're ready to do the parties, there will be promo videos and stuff that we say, right, this should be the first one you play, and then suddenly it's gonna be an intro to something that is gonna be so freaking exciting that they're gonna want to get involved with this stuff just because they're seeing. Is that someone at the door? There's somebody at the door.
There's somebody at the door.
We're not showing our age.
The water,
Yeah.
Skip, the water, can it be actually boiling, or do you have to wait for it to go off the boil?
Okay, great
Mint
question. You want to wait. Ideally, you want to wait for it to go off the boil, because if it's boiling water and you put it on there, it's going to be so hot on those leaves. It's just going to.
Right out.
Yeah. So
During the summer, you can also do
Um, real simple. Let your kettle boil. The second it's boiled, pop the lid off to let that steam go out. Just let it be like that for a minute or two, and then stick it in, and you're good to go. So again, it's real simple stuff, but it's just knowing how to do little things that really do make a big difference. Because again, there's a trap there that you could, that people can fall into. And one of the things that we want to make sure happens at these ambassador parties is that you guys get to be seen as experts. Because when they see you as an expert, suddenly you have a sense of authority that they want to listen to, because you're helping them grow, helping them expand, helping them learn something. So something as simple as this. When you say, you know, when you go in there and you're having tea, a little tip like what Angus, great question, he said, should you just put boiling water straight on the mint? Now that can have a negative effect on the mint, which you want to get as much of that goodness out of that plant as possible without anything being zapped, fried, put into like an incinerator type thing. So you simply boil the kettle, as soon as it's boiled, lift up the lid, let it go for about a minute or two, put the lid down and then stick it on. Those little tips, if people care about health, to the people who it's on their radar, this is like golden information to these people. Because it's like, my God, I just take mint and put water over it all the time. And suddenly, that little tip that you've given them, to us it might mean nothing. But when people are really passionate about, right, I'm looking for any single thing that's going to put more energy, more vitality, more life in my body, and you've just done it with that, you will be the point of contact. There'll be so much trust built up between you and them that when it comes to the time when you say, guys, Supercharger Life is coming up, have you reserved your seats? Every one of them will be like, already done it. And that's how easy you want that process to be. There shouldn't have to be anything than you just allowing the information to flow out of you to them. So today's subject is going to be, someone's left that front door open, is going to be all on the Superfood Matrix delivery system. And I shot a video for it. I think Duke sent it out this morning, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to explain it, and when I explain it, we're then going to buddy up and you're going to ask each other questions around the Superfood Matrix delivery system, because before I start giving you information about the products, there's a process that ours go through that I haven't found anyone else who goes through a similar process. And it's that makes our supplements very different than the ones that are on the market. So until that is really known, and you can like talk about that, like you can talk about, I don't know, a football game or whatever else you know you might have interest in freely, what's going to happen is they're still going to be comparing, oh, is this one cheap or is this one more expensive? Or I can get a 2-for-1 offer on this, or all of these questions will come up. Whereas as soon as you understand what the process ours go through, you'll realise that, you know what, maybe that person's not one of our customers. Because the people that want to pay £10 a month for a multivitamin and think they're going to be healthy, they're not our market. We want people who are more professional, people who really want to invest in their health, because otherwise those ones, they're still living in denial. They think they can go out there, get a hold about, pop that and be healthy.
Well, if it's a cash flow thing, then you know, they're just...
If it is a cash flow thing, what you'll be able to do is, let's say that it is, you know, let's say that their budget is, I don't know, like £10-15 a month that they can spend on it. Then what I would suggest is they're not doing the bare essentials, doing like the chlorella. That's what our lowest flagship product is, the bare essentials, because that's between Eric, all of the medical experts that he's associated with, and my understanding of what the human body needs to be on maintenance, not to get rid of a symptom. They're two very different programs. So I've realised that I've had to really step back when it comes to people already being diagnosed with stuff, just because we'll get too much heat. I hate having to do it. I don't want to step down. There was somebody who has been diagnosed with cancer and they want me to do stuff. And I want to help, and the thoughts that go in my mind now, right, if I help, am I jeopardising the company? And the sorry answer is yes. It's a horrible answer to say. You know, with what I've just seen happen to Brian Clements is unbelievable. You know, here's a guy who has saved so many people's lives. One goes wrong, and now he's all over the news, all over the press, seen as the bad guy. And people who don't know about him will pin their meaning on, because it's first impressions, and their first impressions is, that's a dodgy character. So, what I'm doing at the moment, and this has all happened in the last few weeks, so what I'm doing now is any time that someone has that type of symptom, we have to deal with it seriously. We don't want to give them any false information. We need to be in a position where it gets dealt with by a top medical expert. So if there's someone who you know who has that type of, you know, cancer or heart disease or whatever, and they don't like that symptom, they want to get rid of it, we have doctors and medical experts that are in alignment with this. They have their license, and they can say, right, we can deal with this symptom this way, or we recommend you trying this stuff out. Then it's their choice. They have a choice. That's how we have to really present it at the moment, just to cover ourselves legally. Now, as a business, it's that much of our business. Where the business is making sure that people are in balance. The fastest way I've found to get anyone in balance is with the 10 Commandments for Health. That's why last week we were going through things later to make sure that you guys are really applying this stuff every day. But again, there's no judgment, because you're all on your journey. It just so happens to be that you guys are in this place, you're the first wave of ambassadors coming in. Don't expect to be perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect. Yes. All I expect you to be is improving all the time. And that's why, you know, I was a little bit hard on you last week, but it was done with love.
Yeah, I know.
So, because the last thing you want is to be standing there, because knowledge-wise, you got some great knowledge in there.
Yeah.
You know, people can ask things and you can give really good comments, but what's going to happen is they're going to look at you and their brain is going to say a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to serve you or them.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
So, totally. At the point where you're slim and trim and freaking loving it, you will have so much power, because you'll show you before and after.
Yeah.
And that will travel with you everywhere. You'll pull it out on your phone, you'll pull it out of a manual, you'll pull it out of somewhere, so no matter who you're with, you'll show you before and after. I mean, you want to see me anywhere now, I can, like, planes is the best one because no one can escape. Honestly, I swear to God, when you start to rip, the second that you've had a positive influence on someone, and they've either came to Supercharger Life, or they've started to take the supplements, or they've gone on one of the programs, and it's one of the people that you've brought through the programs, the connection that you will have at that point, something is going to open up inside of you. And it's the something that allows you to serve. Because when you realise that we are only at our best in life when we serve, that's it, there's no other two ways about it, but you can't serve someone unless you're serving yourself. That in that moment, you're going to want to serve anywhere you go. I mean, you should have seen this on this Lexus commercial in the week. You couldn't walk 2 steps without seeing a Supercharger Life fly somewhere. I kid you not. Because suddenly, when the guy goes, so how long have you been doing this for, Skip? I said, about 20 odd years. He goes, is this all you do? I said, no, I do a few other bits. Oh, what else do you do? That was the opening rate. I said, well, wait there a minute. I go and pull out a bunch of Supercharger Life flyers and I shove them on the side. He goes, what's that then? And I tell him about it, and then I tell him it's a free event. And he goes, hey, do you mind if we hand them out here? I went, what are these like? You think they'd benefit from Supercharger Life? Yeah, I really think they would. I said, if you want to hand them out, go for it. I kid you not, the director of the commercial, he's 50 grand a day, is walking around handing the flyers out for me like this. You've got to come to this event. This event looks amazing. Come to this event. So suddenly the top dog did it all for me. And you'll learn how to connect with the right people, because the idea is for you not to be working, I mean, you are going to be working harder, but you want to be working smarter. Because when you've realised that there's a knack to certain things, and we're going to be going through all of this because we need to turn you into the, you know, the type of people that you can approach anyone in any moment and connect with them. Because it comes down to that saying that people really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When they feel that you can care, so that you care, a part of them opens up. Until it's all knowledge, there's still a barrier up. Because it's like, yeah, whatever, information. I'm drowning in all this bullshit information. So keep giving it to me. I'm used to going into a trance, but pretend I'm really eating what you're saying. And that's where people are at. Whereas the second they genuinely know you care, boom, they step towards you. But you have to genuinely care. You can't fake it. This is not about just doing things, oh yeah, I've got to do number 1, number 2, number 3, and I've got it. No, every part of the process, you have to give your bit of love to it. And then what you find is that, and you'll see this, and this is the beautiful thing, all of you are starting at the start line. You're all going to finish in different places. You're all going to start to get different results, and we're going to be transparent with all of it. And some of you are going to be like, how the hell did this person get so many people to Supercharge Your Life? Or how come I had 20 people go to Supercharge Your Life, this person had only 2 go, but the 2 that went from the other person signed up for Self-Mastery PhD. How? Because of prep. And what you find is that, yeah, people might fluke it every now and again, but you'll start to see consistency with people. And that's why we do things transparently, because let's say that Mitch comes up with a phenomenal idea for, say, one of the parties, and suddenly from that party he gets a result. We expose that to everyone, and then you have a good idea, and before we know it, everything expands at such a fast rate that you're going out there really looking forward to doing like these little parties. It's like Dan, who's living up here at the moment. He's seen what today's been like, and he goes, "But you've now got everyone coming around between 7 and 10. Are you not going to be drained?" I went, Dan. This is the beautiful thing when you put love into everything. I couldn't wait for you guys. You know, I was looking forward to you guys. I'm running a little bit behind time, but so looking forward to you guys coming around, because we now get to be involved with this movement. So let's go in the kitchen. You have a little drink here. So does Duke. And there's one left for Cassia.
Is it possible to get a comparative list of the nutrition that's in your supplement, and then sort of like vegetables, so you can work out sort of a comparative cost for people who are sort of like concerned about the money? Just so you can say this is the amount of what you would need to eat in order to get the same.
Great idea. Right, when we go in there, ask me a question again, because Duke will be in there taking notes.
Okay.
So that's a great idea. Something like
I
that.
do too.
You do, champ?
That's why I work so hard for it.
Right, let's go in. So let's take. People really look forward to coming to spend an evening with you. And again, it can be in your kitchen, it can be their kitchen. Doesn't matter where. It can be anywhere. You know, I heard some people say, yeah, for some reason it's just gone. I don't know why.
What do you think with the other light in front of you? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, it's there. It's quite fresh.
So that the reason why I done that was that back in the day when I was involved with MLM stuff, that one of the things that I did was I hated the industry. I thought it was just people who didn't have money trying to convince people who don't have money to earn money. And no one knows the real strategy around it, but they're buying into a myth of seeing everything glitzy and shiny. Oh my God, I can have this lifestyle and I can have this and the products are amazing. And I didn't want to be a part of that. So I started to come up with stuff, which is actually funny enough, actually in the industry now, of doing like these home parties. So that when it becomes a celebration, when it becomes a party, when it becomes that type of thing, no one feels like they're being sold to, because it's an experience, and that's the important thing. Is I want you guys to be able to create experiences for people. So first thing is welcome drink. Second thing is that you already have a drink, so that they've got something of a drink to have with them, because the last thing you want is people saying can I have a drink and then being dehydrated. Make sure they're hydrated. They're going to be getting the nutrients from the superfoods. You might want to hand out some nutrients. It depends what type of party you want to hold, whether it's the first time you've held that type of party, you want to introduce them to it, or you might want to introduce them to some other supplements or some other products. So the first thing is, when you have the meeting, this has to be the first thing that you guys can explain, because when you've got the technology, when you really understand the superfood matrix delivery system, you'll be able to look at other supplements so quickly with things will come on your radar, and it will be like warning signals coming up, and you'll be able to do it really, really quickly. And the idea is that whatever I'm teaching you, you then want to teach them. Because the second you teach it to them, one, you're seen as an expert, but two, it goes in a level deeper within you, so that you can start to just be on autopilot on this stuff. Where was I the other day? And someone was telling me how amazing this new company was. And of course it's an MLM company, but they got skip, and you'll hear this one's different. That's what you'll hear. That'll be no, this is a different one. And it wasn't selling anyway. Straight away when you go through the ingredients list, you'll have warning signals coming up. Total warning signals. I mean, can you just quickly go and grab me that recovery mix bag, please? It's on the table. Where what you want to be able to show them is that the more closer things are to nature, the more life force is still in it. Cheers, dude. So straight away, when they're on that drink, say, right, do you know the benefits? Right, and here's a question, and this is not to answer now, but this is just to get your minds going. Does anyone know the benefits of any of these things? Raw cold pressed hemp protein, bee pollen, maca root, and raw cacao.
Yes.
Right, cool. Now, there's one person smiling because she knows the benefits. The second that you know you just know something, there's a part of you that, yeah, I know that. But this is real simple stuff. But this stuff should be the things that kids learn before they even learn maths and all of that crazy stuff. You know, geography and history. This is what's going to serve people in the moment. Who gives a shit what happened last year or a century ago? Really? You know, that's the education system just regurgitating stuff. Whereas this stuff can actually serve the client, can serve their kids, can serve everyone immediately. And if they've got kids there, they're the best ones. You bring kids around this stuff, they lap it up like crap. But you have to put something sweet in it initially. Because so the reason why I made this really sweet is because that's the sweetest stuff. Like for me, I wouldn't be able to have that drink. It's too sweet for me. But for the average person coming in, it's going to tickle their taste buds. They're going to love it. And then what you can start to say is, right, now you're on all the right stuff, let's just start reducing. I mean, there's no processed sugar. It's all natural sugars.
Could you repeat what you do? Use 2 bananas, coconut milk.
Yeah, so in this one I put a whole carton of coconut milk. I had a little bit of nut milk, which was homemade. That went in there. 2 bananas. I think it was 4 or 5 scoops. What's that?
You haven't killed me yet.
What would be your preferred milk?
It really depends on your flavour. They're all good. They're all great.
We'll get it going for you, don't worry.
And the idea is that what you want to be doing is then you share how you use the product. So like if I was holding the party, when we were having that drink, I'd be saying like, I say, yeah, I'll do this amazing ice cream with it. You know, next time we do another party in the summer, I'll do some ice cream for you. Because then you've planted the seed to hook them in for a few months later. Because you want to keep bringing people back. You know, where it's a nice little get together. You're talking about healthy breakthroughs. You know, you're really on a positive tip. And then you can say that, like for me, I can say, well, when I've done my training, straight away I just do it with water. So I take a couple of scoops in my shaker, shake it up, neck the water, I'm done. Sometimes I do it before training. You know, if I get a little bit of a, you know, sometimes when you're hungry and you want to go training and you shouldn't ever train with food in your stomach, this, going straight in there, there's no digestion process. So you're not hungry while you're working out. Those nutrients have gone round, and depending on whether I need a little lift up, boom, this one does it. The alkaline won't give you that lift up, but this one will. And people who love like their coffees and stuff in the middle of the day, you can switch it with this stuff. You can literally switch it with a superfood blend.
What, you drink it hot?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Not with boiling water, because you don't want to fry the nutrients, but you can warm this up, and like that drink we just had there, you imagine that at night time being warm. And that's exactly what happens there. You'll find, oh, I can use this product in that way, because the more they're putting superfoods on their normal foods, the more nutrients that they're getting in their body. The alkaline one, the classic I do with that is when if I haven't made hummus at home and I'm buying hummus, you know, in the little tubs, I take a scoop of the green superfood alkaline protein, I mix it in there. The whole thing comes out green.
Lovely.
And it is freaking awesome.
Oh,
Because so the idea is that you're going to open up the conversation on ways that, because now suddenly you're like, oh, I want to try that. Oh, and that's what you want to have happening. Yeah.
I got a question about what you just talked about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different qualities of hummus you can get, for example, right?
Yeah.
And is it gonna? It's not going to negatively affect your product if you put it in with like quite a cheap hummus. It's still going to be beneficial, right?
Well, what you're doing is,
Like some, for example, the expensive ones might have more olive oil, for example.
Yeah. So, anytime I want to make the answers so simple for you guys that it will just roll off the tongue. There was like a few questions the other day I went and asked Eric, and I thought it was going to be a yes or no answer. Holy crap! What came back was stuff that you're looking at all this stuff thinking, did he even understand the question?
Too dense.
It's too scientific, not getting back to what the average person will understand.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, can you give her drink as well? And so the question is it going to affect cheap hummus? And the answer is, of course it will, because remember, all food is a shuttle system to be able to get nutrients in the body. So anytime that you're eating food, what you want to be thinking is, what live nutrients are in this? Otherwise, if you're not having that come on your radar, you're still going to be getting in that zombie trance and going in there out of like whatever your program are doing, you're just going to grab and eat. And that awareness is not with you in that moment. So, every time you do this, you want to be thinking, right, is this meeting commandment for health number 4? Am I eating correctly? Now, if you've got the cheap hummus, to make it more correctly is to go and add more live nutrients to it. That's why we do it. Like, little Ella, every time that she has hummus and she's at school, it comes out green. And that's one of the best talking points, for the kids at school. Well, how come you got green hummus? Well, my hummus is actually supercharged hummus. That's the response. What do you mean you got supercharged hummus? Well, mine's supercharged. Supercharged with what? Well, supercharged with life force, supercharged with nutrients. And she will talk about this stuff more than most adults because she's living it. Things happen.
Sorry.
That's all right.
You need to get some oil on that.
I know. Yo, come in. So the idea is you want to have a little bit of a lead in to talking about what it is that because remember, everything means something, and if you skim past everything, what you can do is at the point where they're thinking, oh, and you let their imagination go, oh, I could add this to that, I could add this to that, oh, I could get the kids doing this, oh, I can have, because the green one can go on salads, can go in soups, can go on vegetables, it can go anywhere. In water, in shakes, in smoothies, you can make ice creams with the stuff. The green ones, we've done it before where we've done live juices, put the alkaline protein in and put them in moulds and you pull them out and you've got lollipops. You've got superfood lollipops made with live juices and superfoods. And suddenly, the kids are out doing their thing, but there's no processed sugars in there. There's nothing in there that's going to turn around and bite them in the backside. It's actually going to serve them. It's a worthwhile process for them to go through, not something that could get them addicted to sugar that can have negative effects later on in life. So, any questions on the superfoods before we actually move
I
on?
think the green one's more of a herb-based one than that. I'm not
Well, they're both. We
green.
use hemp protein as the base in both of them. Then in the green one we've got spirulina, wheatgrass, barleygrass, chlorella. We've got it's mainly green.
So it's going to be more savoury things, whereas that you'd use in sweets
Yeah,
and things.
exactly. Yeah, and this one's actually got a raw coconut nectar to sweeten it up as well. And that totally different.
How much is that retailing at?
Oh, you asking me questions about money?
Absolutely. That's what they're going to ask me.
Can someone go online?
It'll be on site.
With the
I think that's about 23, isn't it?
With Eric, if there are really technical things that you want me to translate into lay language, then I can do that.
What's that?
If there are really technical things that you want me to translate from Eric, he gives you blurb and you think, oh, what is he going on about? Then I'm happy to do.
Alright, cool. Cool. It's more. If I showed you what he'd done on Les Brown, you would be frazzled. I'll send it across to you, and you'll read it and just go, "Yeah, you really have to be a doctor to understand this stuff."
Could I look at that as well, please?
It's Les Brown. He's a
Oh, okay.
client. I shouldn't really be sharing this stuff out.
It's private.
Yeah.
Please don't.
No, I'm not. Yeah. So, any questions on superfoods?
Well, one question I got asked was, what's the shelf life? Is there an expiry
Okay,
date?
so this one,
So if it's natural.
yeah, 24 of the 12-15.
And do they have to go in the fridge? There's another one I got asked.
They don't have to, so long as they're in air, so long as that's sealed and it's airtight,
Yeah.
it can just go in a cupboard.
Okay, cool.
So what were the price of these?
Once you've made it, how long can it sit on the side? Kept in the fridge.
Yeah, when it comes to stuff like this, you really want to, when you've made it, you want to have it that day. Because this is, it's like an apple, the fresher the apple, the faster it's going to decompose.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same with this stuff.
Heat, air and light will all oxidise it.
What's that?
Heat, air and light
Yeah.
will all oxidise it. Same
Yeah.
as with your juices.
Yeah. So if you made an ice cream with it, you could freeze it, you know, no problem.
Actually, what Angel suggested I always do now, when I do all my juices and smoothies and blah 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 and this stuff, I chuck it in the freezer for 10 minutes just to chill it really fast. And then when I've done training abroad, I have my little cooler pack mini one, and I do smaller containers of all my juices so that I can actually do it if I've got no access, you know, to stuff, and then chuck the bottles.
Cool.
So half my bloody suitcase is juices.
Yeah,
Nice.
Because there's nothing in Budapest, forget it.
Yeah.
It's like,
soft to close.
It's 47, or the recurring monthly is 32.97.
Okay, so if they buy a one-off, it's 47, but if they buy it on the monthly auto ship, it's 30.
Is
2.97.
monthly auto ship the only option, or can they do it twice a month, every other month or
3
something? Or
months,
is it?
yeah.
I think there's a 3 month option.
Otherwise you,
And obviously within the whole package, it's less overall.
because otherwise, you know, if you're one person by yourself, you're not going to get through that in a month. So necessarily.
I think you would.
Well, no, because if you've
it's
got the
whether you
green one
should-
as well, you got the green one as well. You're using that more probably. 'Cause that's more sweeter, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm probably not the person to gauge off because I consume this stuff like it's going out of fashion.
To get your neurotransmitters at full optimum level, you should be on half a pint of whole hemp seeds per day. What half a pint of hemp seeds is translates to in that with that's been shelled and then other things. I don't know, but you can go through quite a lot. Do you want your neurotransmitters?
I mean, this stuff, where you want to be going with your conversations with people is having them only looking at food as fuel.
Yeah.
Really, because when you can get that shift happening in them, where suddenly they're not looking at the price of food, they're looking at what value is this actually going to give me.
But they're all on budgets, Kip. They're not all going to have, you know, mega money straight away. So they're trying to get them to get the best possible thing for them to get them on it and get them started.
Yeah, so that's the whole point, is you just want to get them on something that serves them. Now, you will... Okay. You're going to find some are going to gravitate more towards, say, like the bare essentials, and some might gravitate more towards superfoods, depending on what information they've had go in their minds already. And when you're having the conversations with them, you want to go down the path of least resistance. And when it comes to people not being able to afford like £100 a month on live nutrients, we're not talking synthetic stuff.
No.
There is a shift that has to happen within them. But the second the shift happens, and that will only come through you educating them in the right way, them really trusting you, and then being open to new decision making, a new decision making process than the old one,
Yeah.
because there's major habits that need to be broken.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about bringing, about building these relationships and then just bringing them to supercharge your life. Because within those 2 days, so many things will happen to them that next time you go and hold your party, it's going to be a lot easier for you. Things are going to flow easier. You might be able to introduce more products. You might decide to do, right, this whole one we're going to do tonight is all going to be around yoga. So bring your yoga mats around people and we're going to do some yoga. And you might either do it, have someone to do it, you might bum one on the DVDs on, you might have drinks ready for them after, and then suddenly you decided to make a yoga bundle for them that night. If they purchase that night, they get a special deal on it or something. And you can come to us and say, right, this particular night, can we do a deal on something? And it's going to be a 24-hour deal. They have to buy it that night or they're not. Any options like that you guys might have, bring them to the table, because what it does is it just allows them to be exposed to things with more ease. Things that are going to serve them. So there was one other thing around these. Was there one more question?
I was just going to add, with the limiting beliefs, if you're confident, you could possibly put in kind of like a myths and fears bit discussion.
Definitely. Yeah.
So then it shifts them, because ultimately.
But I think they need to they probably need to come to Supercharge first.
Yeah, but
because they've got to get rid of some old beliefs to where they can get their funds and change other aspects in their life so they can afford it.
True.
Yeah.
But then if they're not, because if you think about it, junk food actually costs more. So actually it's about them shifting what they prioritise in their life. And sometimes you go to Iceland and everything's £2-3 per item, but actually if you're buying things raw or in bulk, it can. And maybe there's a party that you include the budgeting side, because it's about transition. So we get there eventually,
comes
but we
back
don't have
to the sort of like the comparison between what the amount of nutrition that's in these things and how much it would cost if you were just buying
I think
raw
that's
vegetables.
really helpful.
So if we have a slide that captures,
because you get
if you
Can
get
you
shopping
make a note
basket,
Can we have a note that we get a slide of like nutritional value of like comparisons of what's in like certain nutrients and foods and stuff,
and how
compared
much
to
you have to
actually.
eat, or
Yeah.
and how little are in the other supplements as well, because that's really important.
And it's also highlights how much of the food
Oh,
that
yeah,
you're currently
yeah,
eating that
brilliant.
you can knock out
Cheers,
because
Dee.
you're just taking these supplements.
Yeah.
Because your body is craving nutrition, so you're getting maximum nutrition in the smallest amount.
That's been eaten, mate. That's all gone.
And also, what was I saying? It sort of reworks it well, because if you've got something to read green and wants to know every detail, you can just go bam, there you go. If you've got something to read blue, they're not interested, they just want to play. Oh yeah, that's right, yeah. You know.
You can also highlight the calorie reduction, which studies have shown in every species where you reduce calories, you increase lifespan.
Yeah, that's true.
Nutrition.
she's going to have an interesting party.
If you sort of like in mice, if you reduce their calorific intake by 10%, then their lifespan increases by
For example,
20%.
Okay, so the idea is to really make sure that you've got things, and we need to obviously give them to you guys, where straight away a slide can go up, a handout can go, where immediately people can see, oh my god, by taking this, it would cost me this amount of money to get the same value from somewhere else. Yeah. Instead, all I've got to do is invest this money, and that means I need to stop eating this Big Mac once a week, or whatever it might be. So we've got this, so we'll go through this in a sec. And I want you guys to be so free that you can walk into anyone's supplement cupboard and just pick a bunch of stuff out there and show them what the warning signals are. And I just asked Angus before he came here, I said, look, have you got any supplements in your cupboard? And he goes, yeah. And I went, can you bring them? And so he's just handed me to them. I don't know what they are, I've just had a quick look at them, and warning signals are going off straight away. And this is how quickly I want you guys to be able to serve people. It's not about bitching about these companies, it's not about putting them down, it's not about saying anything bad about them. It's just about being truthful. So we've got one here, vitamin K1 from Solgar. And as I go down, when something says each tablet provides bulking agents, that and that's the first
That's gonna
ingredient,
be calcium or calcium carbonate.
K1.
Yeah. But the
And
agent-
it doesn't matter. It's all crap.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what they call the bulking agent. I don't care what names they put after it. I don't care if they call the bulking agent Tinkerbell. It's still freaking bad for you. So anything that has a bulking agent or fillers is a no-no. And what we need to start looking for is other words they can use as bulking agents and fillers. And one of the ways I saw it the other week is you'll have all the ingredient list, and then another place on the label hidden around the back, they'll have something small with a star which says other ingredients. And then it lists those other things. So anytime that you see that, again, just total warning signals. Because you just put all the ingredients together. Why would you separate them? There's no need. And you can guarantee that these are heat press tablets. Guaranteed. So those two things is enough for me to say throw it in the bin. I don't need to go any further than that. Bulking agents, heat pressing, done.
Not to mention you want to
Thank
be
you very
taking
much.
K2, not K1.
So I don't want to get into details. You're going to fry their brains. So what we've got here? Oh, life extension. Never heard of that one before.
Going for it, Angus.
Life extension.
Have you not taken them before?
Unfortunately, no. Oh, it's okay. So this is the one. So the other ingredients. The first ingredients I saw was other ingredients, and in that we have sunflower oil, gelatin, glycerine, beeswax, purified water, and caramel colour.
Oh,
Nice. And you finished it.
Yeah, I finished
Finished
it.
the tub. And he's still smiling. And there's a couple in here. So this is the fish oil. Okay.
Is that the plastic?
I need some advice from you guys. No, we have fish oil, but because I'm vegan, and I was doing some stuff with the president of the Vegan Society in Malaysia, because there were some big wigs that he had checking me out. He asked me to take down the fish oil because he says, look, Skip, we're going to be bigging you up as a vegan that showing people how to live properly. And then he saw that on the site because someone went and checked it out. So I removed it. Now, I don't care whether we put it back up or not, but because this is coming from a non-judgmental place. If people want to buy fish oil, then at least the ingredients that we know that are going in it are better than stuff like this. This will be the dregs. This will be caked with mercury, guaranteed. It'll be laid up with mercury.
I did find a vegetable version because I couldn't have the nuts and the fish and
Yeah.
I need to check if it's got all the other stuff that's problematic for oils because they can absorb all the plastic.
Yeah.
I can check it out.
Yeah. So we have the fish oil there.
So what do you have then? Which one do you have?
As far as oils go, so all the fats are in the bare essentials. You've got the whole chain of fats in there, so that's laid in there, that's taken care of.
Yeah.
The only other oils I take is I have olive oil put on the salad, and I get that from the trees over in Spain, so I know exactly where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I use is coconut oil. That's it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be, we might be bringing out our coconut oil at Supercharged Life if things go smoothly. If not, it'll be the next one.
No, but what fish oil? You said you got fish oil.
Oh, we have it as part of the range.
Is it krill oil or something? No.
I'll have to go to the details of Eric and find out what it is. And Eric just said, he goes, Skip, I don't care either. He goes, I don't, I'm like you. He goes, I don't eat the meat, the fish, and all that type of stuff. But there are certain doctors that like to prescribe it because, there's no doubt that omega-3s, they can work for the brain and be good for that.
We have evolved along the line of having fish in our diet, so it is very beneficial to have the EPA from a fish source.
EPA, and if it's good quality and not
obviously,
contaminated
yes.
and all the rest of it.
Obviously,
But
at the right level.
what you've got to remember, you don't know this actually, our immune systems digest and perform better with vegetarian oils than they do fish or
Way better.
meat.
Way
So,
better.
Full stop. Inflammation in the body will be more aggressive
Yeah.
with fish or meat,
Guaranteed.
oils, full stop.
Guaranteed.
So if you've
You-
got arthritis, anything else,
Got to
we've
balance
done
out your
there's studies that
yeah.
show people have more symptoms with.
Need to balance out your
Yeah.
EPA and
Because
AA,
I got
but
prescribed fish oil for
Yeah, I know, it's
inflammation of my
ironic.
knee.
yeah,
So,
Swap it out.
it's just to
Yeah.
get
well,
the
yeah, I cut it
EPA.
out,
off.
obviously,
Yeah,
last year.
Oh
but-
yeah. And it's scary. And
you-
people with asthma and allergies, there's something.
If you want a direct replacement, what is it?
That's
Udo's
what
oil.
I
Udo's
did
oil or
have
something.
one, but I have to check that.
Well,
it's
Udo's.
Udo's
So I
oil.
used to. I thought Udo's was awesome when it came out. And part of the and we're going to go through this challenge as well. Is that when you go, and I mean literally global, where you've got massive amounts of stock being sent to each country every single week. You know, like truckloads of the stuff. There comes a point where you're like, okay, how do we supply the demand? And what Udo's, the quality that Udo's used to be before they bought his company off him was unbelievable. The process that they go through now is not the same process that they went through when Udo's was first created. It's chalk and cheese. And he knows that. He's not even involved in the company anymore. He just turns up at their meetings every now and again because his face is on the bottles. So that's corporate America for you. So this one, okay, so it's only fish oil, but where my alarm bells go off is literally just in what the actual, first of all, you don't know where the fish is coming from, so we have no clue how this fish is farmed. And secondly, what is in the actual casing, that gel thing. That's not natural, it's not going to serve you in any way whatsoever, you know, all that gelatin and stuff like that. And I think, don't most gelatines come from beef?
Most boiled up
yes,
bones
yeah.
and
Yeah.
behaves and things.
Yeah. So that's that. So it's important that, and you guys can do this, where you can literally go around someone's house and say, look, I'm going to piss you off for 5 minutes, but then I'm going to be like, you're going to fall in love with me, because I'm going to save you from freaking disasters. So you get their supplements, and you don't diss them, and you can be there with an iPhone, you can be there with an iPad, somewhere where you can get online. Because if you've just got, I don't know, like 8 people, you know, half a dozen people, and they're all around you, and you're saying, well, let's have a look at these ingredients, because, you know, I just want to make sure that what you are taking, you're investing good money. And you can guarantee, if they've got them from an MLM company, or they've got them from the high streets, you can guarantee it's going to be CAC. Total CAC. The first time I find a decent one in the high street, I'll let you guys know. I'll be the first one to say, actually, you know what, if someone's taken that brand lamb. Because
it's brilliant when you did the kinesiology, because that was a joke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remind
Here's something for you to comment on. It says no artificial colours, flavours, or preservatives.
yeah, because they've just taken the fish oil in.
Yeah. I'm just
So-
saying that's something they do to make it sound healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, when you're then Googling some of those words, and you may not know some of these words, but when you Google it, you're going to be amazed at what comes up. But what are you doing? 1, you're being an expert. 2, you're caring about them. But 3, you're turning them off to their supplements. So in that moment, it's like you've pulled a rug from under their feet. And now they're like, shit, what do I do? And then you're right in prime position for them to do it. Because if we went back 10 years ago, you'd have to go through a process of trying to convince people to take supplements. Now, you don't have to convince them of that anymore. That bit's already done. All you've got to do is convince them to actually buy a trusted brand, you know, trusted range of products. So, at that point when you Google this stuff and say, did you have any clue that this stuff was in it? Talk to them about it. See what they say. Let them, because you'll see them get pissed off, and let their steam come out a little bit. You want to have them go to that place and say, right, this is why we're setting this company up. We want transparency. We don't want you going to buy something, what you think is a health product, and then suddenly you take it, really believing it's a health product, and what you've been doing is you've now spent 40 years putting in this stuff that has now had a negative effect on you. Because anything negative that goes in, anything that isn't natural, it's going to compromise the energy from the body. That energy that can be going to do its thing is now having to go and deal with this thing that went in the mouth. So all you want to do is stop them poisoning themselves. So then you're going to Google any words that you don't understand, and boom, the answers come up in front of you. And eventually you won't need to Google it. Eventually you just be able to go through and talk about a few little bits. But that way, when you're going online, who knows what's going to come up? What I do know is going to come up, because every time I've started Googling stuff like that, I've never found anything good come up. It just hasn't happened.
Can I try one on the room, just to see if anyone knows this one?
Go for it.
It says antioxidant, dialpha tocopherol acetate. Anyone come
No,
across
look
that?
at it.
So you can't pronounce it.
It's very small.
Exactly. Well, no, there's some dialpha.
Just have a look at this. We're at an
Oh,
event
no,
on the
ingredients,
weekend,
is that?
and this is
Yeah.
the
Oh,
company that's
dialpha
coming out
top-
some new shapes. If you
saccharolyl
scroll to the
acetate.
right, it shows you the
So-
ingredients what's in it.
That's an alpha
Oh,
linear.
So that-
So you yeah,
No,
that's illustrated. It was pretty.
Right, chemist.
But they were
We'll
quite.
look at that
like,
again.
Yeah.
like, this is a new
Let's
weight
have a look.
loss.
Well, it's obviously
it's
a chemical
grateful
of
work
some sort,
out
isn't
to
it?
the bodies.
Not
Next best
necessarily.
thing is,
So where is this from?
Chuck a
Germany?
lot of marketing at top now.
Yeah. What did I say?
yeah, it was somewhere in Europe.
Put it in Wiki.
From America.
Sorry, what is
Yeah,
it?
so the first thing you've got in there is milk protein.
Yeah, but look at the
Diet-
percentage as well.
Yeah,
not
48% of it.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
But again, all you have to do is look at that branding.
Yeah, well, what they're trying to sell is the image. of a
It's
lady.
like-
yeah,
What is it?
Oh, it's vitamin E.
Phase. It's
It's
see,
vitamin E.
Yeah.
Toca
Straight
tree
away,
vitamin A, which is where I thought the Toca
you've gone
might
there,
come in,
yeah,
but
and you've
with the rest of it,
from that.
Yeah.
How long that take you? 60 seconds, if
Yeah.
that. From that point on, it doesn't matter what they say. Sit there and learn and absorb their sales techniques. Because what these companies do, they have massive marketing budgets, and they put a lot of stuff into the training so that these people can get trained to go and sell their stuff, and they get them wired up. It's exactly like Body by Vi. You know, their marketing is flawless though.
I know.
So what we want to learn is what's really going on. Because if you sit there and you're not in your head and you're not thinking, well, this bozo's going to try and sell to me, and all of these things are going through your head, it's stop what you're doing in the moment. Because what you'll realise that sometimes you might go and see someone and say, you know what, I'm so impressed by what you're selling, by how you sell. Such a shame you're selling shit. Because if you were selling great stuff, you'd be flawless. And then you let them talk. What do you mean? Well, we got some products that, you know, if you were behind these products, you'd be getting serious results of people. You can't get serious results of people when you're trying to feed them stuff from a cow. It just can't happen. When you've got 48% of your product from a cow, that's going to cause a whole bunch of stuff that is not health related. Straight off the bat, the first ingredient. And you're then going to have that conversation with them, and you've said your bit, you've been respectable, you've let them do their pitch, you've taken all your notes. Oh, I can learn that next time I'm holding one of my parties. You can learn from every situation. So it's always really good to see and know what other people are doing. You know, every now and again I'll go and I'll just be in the wrong place at the right time, but one of these network marketing things will come up. Well, I found myself at a Juice Plus one a few months ago.
Mark one.
Yeah, with the Olympian, the guy that got gold.
Yeah.
And his presentation was flawless. I mean, flawless. He's worked so hard on knowing how to present Juice Plus. And I could just see the guys at the back, and I saw them, and I was like, this is going to be the most cleverest pitch I think I've ever seen in the network marketing world. Because you've got a guy who wins freaking gold at the Olympics, and he's British. And now his whole pitch on was pretty much, couldn't have done it without Juice Plus. Type thing. And, you know, really nice guy. But as every Olympian, and, you know, being someone who, you know, is used to being in the British squad, there's no money in athletics unless you're a Beckham, unless you're a face of something. You know, now the sponsorship deals are available. But that's short-lived. you know, they only last until the next sports hero comes along. And with someone like, you know, this guy, he's now looking for his next career. He had nothing before he done the Olympics. He then went and done it, followed his own little path, very lonely, you know, journey for him, but he followed that thing from within. And it's like the Rocky story, you know, you're backing the underdog. And then he plays his video at the end of him winning it, and the whole freaking crowd erupted like they was in the stadium with him. It was unbelievable. It was like, damn, this guy, you know, they've really worked on it well. You couldn't fold it at all. But what's he doing? He's looking to set his business up within Juice Plus. He's done a deal with them, and whatever got sold from that event, he's on commission with, or he's part of their one of their ambassadors, where there's a certain deal that they have with him. And again, we understand it. There's no judgment. It's not right. It's not wrong. That's just the way that they do it. But when you know the basics about Juice Plus, you wouldn't go anywhere near the stuff with a 10-foot barcode. You wouldn't even put the members of your family that you don't like on the stuff.
What are the key things? Is it sugary?
Okay, so with Juice Plus is, first of all of their ingredients, and this was, last time I had all this checked properly was about 7 or 8 months ago. All of their ingredients are grown with herbicides, pesticides and fungicides. All of them.
They advertise it as they tell you it's not pesticides, but it's organic, but they can't put it on the label because it might have been contaminated with spray.
Yeah, it's bollocks. It's all the same shit. Because if you can't put it on the label, then what are they talking about? It's one of those. Exactly, it's one of those fobbing you off things. Oh no, it's not this. It's no. If it's organic, you can put it on the label. I know when they very first started, where they were buying their goods from, it was all the stuff that the supermarkets were throwing away. I'm sure they've changed it now. I'm sure it's very different now. I hope it's very different now.
What did you just say, Skip? I was just reading the
quality of the product.
About Juice Plus. So when they first started, a lot of the fruits and vegetables that they were buying was the stuff that wasn't good enough to get into the supermarket. So they would buy it cheap. You know, reading it online.
Yeah, I'm reading their page. We're just trying to. So, for example, it's just quite interesting. They got like all these clinical studies. I'm just trying to find a bit.
Yeah,
talking the same
oh no, you won't find that on there.
No, I was just trying to find some thread to what you're saying of to see if I can, you know.
Yeah.
Just out of interest.
Right. So anytime you've got a company that is making it big in America, you'll start to see the most clinical studies and all of this stuff coming out. Now, one of the good things that they say about Juice Plus is that they're real fruits and vegetables in capsules. Now they are. There's no doubt about that. You know a bit more about them. Is all their stuff cold pressed?
I don't know about that.
Doesn't mention
They
it.
say it's,
Right.
it's
So they did mention
it's
it.
juiced and dehydrated, so it is just.
Yeah, but that's before
and
it
it's
goes
powder,
to the tablet.
It's not. It's powder form, so it's not cold pressed. No.
What,
It's-
within a capsule?
yeah, you can break it open, and it is granule. It's sort of it's granule.
Yeah, you can open up the cap.
Okay.
Yeah, because being vegetarian, I wouldn't have the capsules because they're gelatin.
Yeah.
But they'd mention if it was cold pressed, and they didn't mention it at all.
No. It's because what they say, it's enzymatically active, and it will eat through the vegetable capsules. It does, because if you put it on porridge, it will break down the bonds in the porridge and turn it into water. So it does have some life force to it.
So. What I saw at that Juice Plus, there was a lot of good things learnt from it. You know, they had this guy, he's a sports hero, and people had the chance to go and spend an evening with a sports hero. Was it? I don't know. Did they charge for that event or
No,
not?
it's free.
Oh, so it's free. So it was free. Now, when everyone was leaving that event, they was on a freaking high.
Yeah. I love the way you would just stand there, hand out your leaflets to everyone.
Oh, yeah, that's how blunt I am. So imagine, I'm at Juice Plus, right, handing out supercharged my
I
flights.
just don't expect to see you there.
I got invited down there, and I thought, great, I'll come as an invite, and I've got Supercharged Life coming up, sweet. And the guy who organised it all, he went, "Are you meant to be there, mate?" I went, "Absolutely. Do you want to hand them out with me?" And there was a bit where the guy who owned it was handing them out with me, not even know what he's doing. That's the beautiful thing. When you're in spirit and you want to serve, all you're going to do is want to serve. And you're like, there's an ally. Come on, bruv, let's do this together.
I found out what that chemical was.
What was it?
Vitamin E.
The chemical was vitamin E.
The thing I just said the
So,
name of
so
it,
basically, it's the synthetic version of vitamin E. There you go.
Nice.
So, let's say that you did that, exactly what Amos did, and you Googled it, and any time that there's anything synthetic, anytime there's an isolated nutrient, and that's what we're going to go into now, is the whole superfood matrix delivery system, so we can really understand how this works. Because anytime there's an isolated nutrient like that, one, it's not natural. Two, it wasn't designed to go in the human system. So three, what's going to happen is it's going to put the body under, a bit of stress, because there's something unnatural going in there now, and it has to get rid of it. And you'll start to see isolated nutrients all over the shop. Now, first of all, this is how the superfood matrix delivery system works. So after I've gone through this, we're going to buddy up, and then we're going to start asking questions around the superfood matrix delivery system, and you're going to explain it to your buddy. And again, you can't get it wrong. Doesn't matter if you stumble, because then you're going to switch, and you're both going to get the chance to do it. Because the more you do it, the more easy it's going to start to flow out. So first of all, you don't see, the whole supplement industry is geared up for isolated nutrients. And what it means is they separate the nutrient. Nature doesn't provide separate nutrients. You eat a piece of food or a herb or something like that, and you get a fully bonded structure, which the video that I sent out to you guys this morning is, all of this stuff is on there explained. So you've now got a video file based on how the superfood matrix delivery system works. So you can go to it, you can send that to your potential people so that they understand it as well. And you can say to them, look, I'm going to send you this video, have a look at it. If you've got any questions, just come back and ask me. So all of the videos that we're going to be sending you guys, you can then have them to send to your people as well. So it makes your job a lot easier, because what you can say to them is, right, I need you to see this video. It's 15 minutes long, half an hour long, whatever the theme is that is going to be at that party. And you might say, look, watch this video before you come, because we're going to be talking about stuff in this. So I really need you to get this. And hopefully the videos are not that hard to watch, giving you information. It should just like flow over you. So with the superfood matrix delivery system, here's the easiest way that we've worked out how to explain it. If you've got, I do it with an orange. So let's say that Mitch and I had half an orange. It's the same orange, but he's got different demands on his body than the demands that I put on my body. So our bodies are going to need different nutrients at different times in different places. Now, anytime you put an isolated nutrient in the body, it doesn't know where to go, because it's isolated. So what you need is, you have to have what we call the superfood matrix delivery system. So as the sun beams down, and the sun beams heat down, but it beams energy down, and in that energy contains information. The plant then captures that information, it connects with the planet gives it more energy, more information, it goes into the plant. We then eat that plant and we capture that information, we capture that life force. So when you eat a food from nature, it's the matrix within whatever food you eat, that's like the postman, that's the delivery man. So let's say that in relation to nutrients, if I had an envelope and I had a really important, some information in that letter that I had to get to someone, I've got to get it to my mum. You know, I've really got to make sure that mum gets this information. But I just go out there, I don't write her name on it, don't put her address on it, don't put a stamp on it, don't do nothing. But I've got the letter, got the information, and I just put it in the post box. What's the chances of that reaching mum? Ain't going to happen. Because it has no delivery address. Now, you need the postman to take that letter with the address and go and deliver it to where it's needed. Exactly the same thing happens when you've got this superfood matrix delivery system. You'll have a fully bonded structure. So an isolated nutrient would be something like just vitamin C. That's the isolated nutrient, just a certain vitamin. Now, anytime that you see just a certain vitamin in nature, in supplements, that should be a warning signal for you to go and investigate. Now, if you can see that they've ticked all the boxes that ours go through, like the cold pressing, the no fillers, all of the stuff that you'll have on the tick list, what you'll suddenly see is that, this is a total isolated nutrient. This has no delivery address. This has got no postman. So if they're going to take this, it's going to go in the body. The information isn't going to connect to any wisdom in the body. It's going to go straight out the body, come out the front door. You're going to pay for expensive pee. So the matrix within an orange, to make it really simple, it'd be like bioflavonoids, lipids, proteins, carbohydrates. All these components make up the matrix. So say Mitch has one half and I have the other. He might need some bioflavonoids down in his knee. I might need some lipids up in my shoulder. Depending on what we need, the matrix in the food connects to the wisdom and the intelligence that's in you, and it goes, great, we now got all these live nutrients, woohoo, where do you need them? And then they go. And it's done without you having to spend one thought on it. It's connecting you with nature. So the supplements that we have are exactly the same. Every single one of them is a fully bonded structure. Why? Because we grow them so that they have all of the components of that nature has. So what you'll see in the video is, I'll put up a graph on there which had all the components that are in like whole foods. So it's like natural form of carbohydrates, lipids, glycoprotein, all these, the enzymes, all the good stuff that you need in live food. There's a tick list down the whole lot. And then we've got the superfood matrix delivery system, and you'll see exactly the same list is ticked, all of them. And then you'll see like another box which says natural supplements. They can say organic, but theirs is usually just the nutrients. And just nutrients alone ain't gonna do shit. Unless you're getting nutrients live from food, squeezing it, juicing it, that's fine because nature's in it. So anytime that you have the supplements going in there, every single one of them has this technology attached to them. So the second it goes in there, it becomes live. Now, if you took a seed, it can be any seed, pumpkin seed, sunflower seed, whatever, and you leave that seed on the side, it can be dormant for months because the environment isn't really doing anything to give it more life. But if I took that seed and I put it in a different environment, i.e. I put it in some soil that has great nutrients in it, it's got good minerals in it, then I give it some water and I give it some light, what's going to happen? The energy in that seed is going to shift and the vibration is going to come up. There's going to be more life force energy because now it's connecting with nature. Now it's being fed more nutrients, so boom, a sprout comes out. It's like a little leg comes out. And the second that happens and you sprout it, that's why sprouting is essential for juices as well. That the leg comes out and the root starts to grow, suddenly it's becoming more activated. Exactly the same happens with our supplements. So when you've got the tablets, they're on the side and they're dormant. The second you put them inside, and there are sell-by dates on there. You can't leave them for like years. I can't remember how many months it is, but the date's on the bottom. So that when you put that tablet in your mouth, boom, it becomes activated and the body recognises it as complete live nutrients with all that life force in them. So hence, those nutrients get delivered again wherever they're needed in the body. That's how the superfood matrix delivery system works. Simple?
Yeah.
Who's got any questions?
The letter thing is really good.
Yeah.
It's a really good example.
And there's another, I didn't put this in the video, but maybe I should. And there's a thing that Eric, because when Eric's gone around and done like these sort of talks for big organisations, he just says, look, at the end of the day, let's make this simple. Who likes football? And of course, a big percentage of the hands in the audience goes up. And he went, now, if you're playing on your team and you've got 11 players on your team, would you feel comfortable? And he's talking about all these different things like the glycoproteins, the enzymes, the carbs, all of these things that are a part of that matrix. So all of them are in normal food, all of them are in the supplements. So all of them, let's say they make up a certain team. So this whole team here, we've got a full team of 11 players, full football team. Now on the nutrients, when you look at them, they've only got one ingredient. So they've got just the goalkeeper. How balanced is that game going to be? You're going to smash the crap out of them because they've only got one player. So when you can create metaphors or stories or visuals in people's minds, what you'll find is that depending on who you're talking to, you might want to use a different metaphor. So let's say that I know that there's going to be, when we really get going in the sports world with this stuff, we're going to frickin' fly, because we're going to be able to take people, get them on 10 commandments for health, get them clean, and get them, because they'll have a benchmark on their results. Let's say they're runners or whoever, they'll know what their PBs are. The second they start jamming all this stuff in, did you get a PB?
Yep.
Boom! So there you go. And
Personal best. The athlete goes. Oh.
So every day, that's why.
Really?
So when, let's say for instance that if you're given metaphors, and again I might be teaching you guys to suck eggs, but because it's the first time we've done this stuff, I really want you guys to get on it. That if you're in front of a football team, and let's say that someone, you might have a Sunday league, you might even get to a professional team. At some point, if you're in front of that team, and then say, guys, I've got an awesome metaphor. Let's say that you had a team of rugby players, right? That one little stupid thing, because if they're all footballers and you're talking rugby, immediately you'll have some kind of resistance go up. So this is where it's really important to see them where they're at. If they're basketball players, great, use it as a basketball analogy. Or use some kind of analogy where you go in there, and I'll send you guys the slide, because all we did was we had a football stadium, a full team over here, one or maybe two over there, and which team's going to win the battle or win the game. So this is really giving them simple things that they can relate to, where they go, oh, that's how it works. So we'll do questions on the Superfood Matrix delivery system, and then we're going to get in groups, and you're going to explain it. So any questions before that? You're all masters. Cool. Okay, so buddy up.
Do you know what it means there's no questions?
Yeah.
All it might mean.
That you're all geniuses? You all got it?
Yeah, you already know everything.
I think we need a minute to think about it.
Because it is so, when you get this, it is so simple. All we're doing is, and these are some of the lines that I say to people that, and again, you might want to take notes on these. I say, look, I truly believe this. I don't believe that we can improve on nature, but I believe we can learn from it. And the reason why I don't believe we can improve on it is because I think nature was here before us, and nature's going to be here after us. So I think nature has a lot more staying power than human beings. So we can learn a hell of a lot from it, and the more connected we are to nature, the more we're connected to what real life is all about. And every time we're making a decision that disconnects us from nature, we're getting further and further away from reality. So anything that can bring us back to nature, anything that can feed us nature, anything that can reconnect us with nature, is ultimately going to serve us at the highest level. So what we'll do is, who's brave? What we'll do is, we'll have one person stand up and explain the Superfood Matrix delivery system. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to coach that person, so you see how to coach people. Because if you go up and it's wrong, and I'm like, well, that was just freaking horrendous. You just didn't get it right at all whatsoever. That's when someone's trying to learn something, the feedback that they get is so crucial to whether they want to take the next step or whether they want to back off or whether they do want to take the step but you just crushed them and they're like, well, I'm doing this to screw you anyway.
Sorry to interrupt, but the videos that you sent us, have they got the list of the ingredients in each product and explaining everything? So we can learn.
I haven't done, I've redone the chlorella one, so that's got all the benefits and there's only one ingredient and that's chlorella.
Yeah.
So that's really
No, but
easy.
your other ones, like the basics. And
Yeah, they will have. They'll have all that, definitely. Yeah.
I do have to ask one question first of all.
Yeah.
Is there any more tea?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
won't
yeah.
you load it.
For the kettle.
Load them up,
two,
mate.
there's two.
And dehydration.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to go first? Do you want to go first?
I don't know if someone else wants to.
I'll go.
Right,
No,
go
if you
for
want to
it.
go, you go. You were there first.
No, I don't mind because it's something else. No, I'm not going to say that. I sound quite confident about this and I think, maybe not.
So we're going to give her feedback. And so we know nothing about these supplements. What are these things you're trying to talk to us about?
Okay, so you've all obviously heard that supplements are good for you and that you should be having more nutrition. Well, these products, they contain a lot of the nutrition or the nutrients that you're going to need for your everyday health. And the way to help bring it into your body so it's absorbed better is firstly by taking them. It's no use buying them and then just leaving them sitting on your shelves because that doesn't work. You have to actually put it in your mouth. Same as you do with your vegetables, otherwise they rot in the fridge and waste money. So we've established you've got to get them into your body. But if we compare them with some of the supplements you might have seen already that aren't quite so natural, then you're going to realise there's a few differences. With these synthetic ones, if you look at them, you can see it's just got one ingredient. It's usually sort of like your vitamin C, your vitamin E, and you'll be taking that and it will give you a sharp spike in just that one vitamin. Whereas if you look at these ones, these have got the complete complement because they are whole foods, which means they are fruits, vegetables, maybe nuts and seeds, I'm not quite sure what's in them yet, that have been reduced to be put into a package that your body can recognise. So you won't ever see just an isolated vitamin in here. It's going to be a complete package because all these work synergistically. They're all going to work with each other. And if you try taking a supplement like this, it's a bit like sending a letter. Hasn't got an address on the envelope, hasn't got a stamp, it's just labelled mum inside. It's not going to get there, is it? If you post that, the postman's not going to have any idea where to put it, where to send it. That's the same as taking this. It will go in and it will come straight back out again. After it's clogged up your arteries and all the other things and caused a bit of damage on the way out. These, it's like having a full spectrum of the address is right, the postage stamp is correct. It might even have a bit of GPS on there because it's getting quite modern now. So you can take this and it goes to whichever part of your body needs the help. So, for example, I can't think of any examples. So the vitamin C that's in here is a complete package. It's not just the ascorbic acid that you get in this one. It's got all the other. I cannot remember the other elements of vitamin C off the top of my head, but yeah, all the full package. So your body will be able to work with that, know what to do with it, boost your immune system, help you heal quicker, and do all the things that vitamin C does. And I think I've condensed that way too much, so...
Go on, give that a good job, well done. Right, who'd like to give us the feedback?
I thought that was really good. As the first time.
Okay, spot on. Okay, first rule of feedback, always go with something good about it first. Has to be the first thing. Because anytime you give them feedback, even if they frickin' screw up, here's the place to screw up. We can screw up in this place, no problem. There's no judgment in this place. but screwing up again and again and again, eventually you'll start to get it right. So, great feedback so far. What else?
I was engaged. I didn't feel bored at all at one point because I could kind of empathise with how you were sort of going to what you've just taken in. I know you're trying to put your own little mix on it as well. Yeah, like when you said the isolated thing, the word was nutrients is what was in my head, so I have to look at my notes. But yeah, it just kind of, I like your sun analogy. I think that would have been great in it. For me, that's I think I would have learnt on that. But yeah, apart from that, I thought it was spot on.
I can't actually remember what I said.
But you have, you've got a lot of technical information on this side, so I think you're trying to get all that out, which I think when you keep it simple, it does it even more. But no, listen, not knocking it, it's just really good.
First time, amazing, really, really good. And the key thing is what you're saying, keep it simple. Yeah. What's that saying? Kiss. There you go. Yeah. So, the more simple you can go into this stuff with, the more simplicity you can go into it with, and really knowing what your patter is, what your wording is going to be, where you say, okay, first part of the evening I can get the smoothies done, then I get the teas ready, then we're going to talk about the superfoods in that, then I want to go straight into explain the whole thing around this superfood matrix delivery system. By the time they've done that and you've gone through their supplements, what you're going to find is that a lot of them immediately will go, okay, I'm interested in something. And the door will be open. I'm not saying that you're ready for a sale. Some people just go, you know what, I'm done, so I'm sold. Just give it to me. And for you, what you're going to find is that the people that you're dealing with at the moment are already in a really bad... Okay. That's a
not bad. They're challenging.
Yeah, they're dealing with symptoms already.
Yeah.
Whereas what you might find, and I think you could do this easy, I think that you can find groups of people where you can hold these parties around their places who are already on maintenance and money's not going to be an issue for them. Because the work needed to help turn someone around, that's a long-term thing.
Sure.
And it needs you monitoring their progress regularly, because what will work for one person over here won't necessarily have the same effect on someone over here. I've been in there, I know what it's like. And when you're in that mode, it's great, but that's not going to be the people that are making your business grow. And
I can't give that time. I can't give that time.
Of course not. So what you're going to find is that you'll start to realise, because someone like you could very easy, like when I used to live in Knightsbridge, the people that are around there that, the mums that meet, these women that meet, the, what's that TV show? Sex and the City. No, Sex and the City. Those types of women hang around these places, and someone like you could go in there so easy with elegance and being, talking about certain things, and they'll listen to you straight off the bat.
I think if you can use something that's educating, and it's not like dissing them, but they always like to run up their friends,
Yeah.
Once you get into the dinner party.
So what you find is that when you know that you've got all these boxes ticked, that you're going to go there and give them an insane experience. Guaranteed. Because you're serving them. And not only that, you've probably in that process stopped them polluting themselves with something. Because you remember how, there was something you said in a testimonial around the supplements. You were taking some other supplements?
Oh, they were really expensive, yeah. And I was horrified when I realised we did kinesiology on me.
Right.
That was at the,
Right.
Yeah.
So how you felt when you realised what you was taking wasn't serving you, what was that feeling? Tell me about it.
Betrayal, conned. It felt foolish because marketing's very clever.
Yeah.
So I took the best that was available at that time.
Yeah.
And now discovering something that's even better is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because you're always trying to educate yourself.
Absolutely. So when I said that there's going to be a time period where they're almost going to feel a little bit uneasy, because it's not nice, especially when you're buying some of these expensive supplements. I've come across people, they spend hundreds every single month just on normal supplements. And that's normal for them. So you then have to look at, right, if I'm going to hold a dinner party, what's going to serve me best? If I'm holding this dinner party with all these people who've got all these symptoms, or if I have to go to this council estate and do a presentation there, or if I can actually find someone who's got a nice house and convince them to say, do you mind if we have this dinner party around your house, and for doing it around yours, I'll give you whatever it might be. And suddenly you're in nice surroundings, you're with nice people, and you're doing the same thing. You're just choosing who you're choosing to connect with.
Yeah.
And what you find is, and I fell in this trap as well, because when you want to help people, you just want to help. And I found that 80% of my time was dealing with 20% of the business. And as soon as, and I was at a business event when someone said that, and I was like, holy shit, that's me. There's no way this business can grow if I just stay focused on these people. And it was it was a big turnaround for me, but then what happened from then changed the game, because until you guys are really gonna, you have to get this: what you sow, you reap. And what you realise, and the first time I heard that was like, no, I want it easy. I don't want to have to go out there and do all the frickin' sowing. Just give me the benefits. And I kept trying to shortcut the thing, and it doesn't work. When you really learn that, right, I've made my bed, I'm going to lay in it, and you take on 100% responsibility for everything, you'll be so freaking happy at the skin you're in. Because you'll realise that everything is happening with a science behind it. There's a whole science to life. And when you get it, and you surrender to it, all you do is you surrender all the crap that doesn't serve you, and that's how you get flow.
Well, one of the things I have learned is that people will be looking at what you're doing and think, there's those three questions, and I always forget, can I do, and one of the questions is, can I do this? So it's got to be simple, so that they know they can replicate it.
Yeah.
So it's repetition, repetition, repetition.
Yeah. So with that time period where you're actually turning them off their supplements, and you're not really turning them off. All you're doing is showing them the truth. Yeah. Now, for a little bit, you might have a little bit of resistance, because some people will feel, shit, I've been conned. Shit, I feel like an idiot. Shit, I feel betrayed. But they may not have the awareness of those thoughts. They'll just latch onto the feeling, and if they're feeling that stuff and they look at you, they can pin that straight on you. Yeah. So you need to learn how to deflect this stuff. And if you see it, and this is awareness, where awareness is key, because you'd be one step ahead of them. You'll see the thought process they're going through, you know where they're at, you see where they're shifting to, and straight away you'll be over there and say, look, I know this is hard for you, but I just didn't want you polluting your stuff with this stuff, because when I found out about this, I was freaking going through betrayal. And they'll be like, that's what I'm going through, and suddenly you've got a buddy. You're in alignment with them. There's no you and me. It's like, right, come on then, let's do this together type thing.
I know how you feel. I felt the same way too.
Yeah, all of that stuff. And it's real. And this is the stuff that I want you guys to find. Find your stories. Because what you'll find is that every time you find a story, you won't need to remember the information anymore. You'll just remember the story, the metaphor. And because that's linked to the information, when you start talking about it, bam, this information is going to flood out of you. You're going to be like, damn, I'm a freaking genius. I remembered all that stuff. It's so easy to remember when you have an interest in something. And the idea is that you'll start pinning stories on things, like yours with the kinesiology. It's such a powerful story, because there's total transparency. You know, when you've got people holding up tubs of supplements and they're blind, and you're doing the muscle test on them, and their body knows, and I'm blind too, and I don't know which supplements I'm holding, and every time it comes out with ours on top, you can't get more transparent than that. Total transparency. So,
just with yours, really good, and it's just remembering that you're educating rather than selling.
Yeah, and sharing.
So just be congruent with that, and so therefore you won't have this thing about, oh, I've got to remember the pitch or whatever. So
it's fun to learn.
It's actually a blessing, the knowledge, but I can talk for England as well, so I know where we're coming from with talking about the specifics, and it is about keeping it simple. So I'll be learning that as well. So
Plus, you'll probably do more one-on-ones than 1 to 12 in the future.
Yeah.
And you can always do it
As we
one,
get
like
more.
you said, yeah. You can always do it as
One
a
on
phone
twos,
call.
you
Yeah.
know.
Just
They
give it, once the nerves are gone, it's easy. You just get in your groove then.
Do you know what I do when I have to do one-on-twos or anything like that? I imagine that I'm sharing a gift. So it's experiential. You've got to get the emotions of the person. So it's a gift. It's a gift in your mind. You're just sharing. It's not selling.
Yeah, absolutely. Big difference. Because when you're in that vibration and you don't even have, like for me, I couldn't believe this at the last Supercharger Life. I was gobsmacked at the feedback that came back from certain people who went, you know what I really loved about it? I said, what? The fact that you didn't really sell on stage.
Yeah.
To me, this Supercharger Life for me was a whole freaking pitch. I've never had it where selling was so much, because I now realise that as a business we have, because we've never done Supercharger Life for free before, so I knew I had to make a certain amount of money back so that we could continue to do the event free of charge. Otherwise, I just couldn't do it free, and we'd pull the numbers down and we'd be charged for it. But because I've gone through schooling with like Joel Bauer and with Tracy and Aaron, who own the company in Asia, they're very powerful people, but they come from the heart. And it's like, I said to Tracy one day, I went, Tracy, I've seen you at the events, at the back, because I went to a few different events of speakers that they were bringing over, and Tracy does this. When it's the pitch time, and she's on the sales desk, if there's somebody sat on the fence like this, she's over there, arm round them, just like Mum, arm round them, look, let me deal with you. Right, what's stopping you from signing this bit of paper? What's stopping you from committing? Let's just get rid of this. Let's get this out of the way. So the focus immediately is, oh, stopping me, so this, and this is stopping me. Great, let's deal with that. Now let's sign it. I've never seen anyone so pushy in sales. And I went, Tracy, how come I see you pushing sales and I have no resistance come up? Because you're the type of salesperson I'd run a mile from. She went, one simple thing, Skip. We don't put any speakers on stage unless we know they deliver. If I brought a speaker over from wherever, I want to make sure that these people buy their products. So I'm doing it for their benefit. And that taught me loads. Because in that one little phrase, she's now not selling them, she's serving them.
Yeah.
She never goes and picks up anything to do with money anymore. You know, she's so freaking loaded that, she's got all these vegan restaurants that they give all the money away. That's how these people are. All the money they earn in these restaurants, they give it all away. And they just have them there for fun to keep this movement going. And I thought, right, how can I be on stage? Because you have to remember that what we're selling at Supercharger Life, there's E-Class to World Class is the first thing in the morning when I go through my story. Then there's Breakthrough Mastery in the afternoon. Then the next day there's Detox Life in the morning and the whole self-mastery package. So there's the information needs to be clearer for people to understand, so there's less questions, but it's pitching. But now it's not pitching. You notice my whole pitch went out the window. I brought you guys up on stage and I was like, share your stories. Because I know the value that you guys got from going through that process. Why? Because I've gone through that process myself. I know exactly how it shifts you. So that when you guys are sharing your stories, there wasn't one person in that audience that felt any one of you guys was pitching to them. They didn't feel you were selling to them. They didn't feel like you was trying to convince them to do something. It didn't feel like there was a cult. It didn't feel like it was dogma. It was pure open-heartedness. It was the best thing that could have ever happened. And it happened instinctively. No one prepped it. That's the beautiful thing. I sacrificed my whole pitch to let you guys go up and share your stories.
That's a much better way of doing it.
But why did I do it?
It's become real.
Instinct.
Felt right.
Not instinct in the moment. That's what I follow now, is instinct. Because suddenly, the thoughts went through my mind and I was like, holy shit, there's a lot more on that stage. Because I was thinking maybe a couple of you could say your story and then I could get back to the videos type thing and do what I prepped. But what you find is that life's always going to throw you stuff to allow you to become more flexible. That's all it is. So in that moment I became flexible and I'm like, right, let's see what happens. And you just went one after another after another. I'm like, this is freaking genius. This is awesome. Can I just stay out of the way for the rest of the freaking event? Leave it to these guys. I'm going to have a tea break. Thank you very much.
I think I was manning the tape to that side. I missed it.
Mint tea. So you'll be so comfortable in your skin that, because this is going to be one of the things that you'll find. You'll get a set syntax of how you want your own little events to go. But what you need to be is flexible, that if something doesn't go exactly the way you want it, maybe it's because something new needs to come through. Maybe that way worked for that time period, but it needs a little bit evolving, it needs a little bit more added to it. So that's why I want you guys to really get into the creative flow of things. You know, you might say, oh, actually, when we've done that welcome drink, I got some coconut yogurt, and I put that with the superfood mix and added this in it and that in it, and suddenly they came in with this sort of chocolatey moussey type thing. I don't know, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. It could be anything where you're allowing creativity to really breathe through you. So, commandment number 1. So with the superfood matrix delivery system, really keep it simple. Always give an analogy of either the orange, where you can say that you don't find only vitamin C anywhere in nature. What you will find when you're looking for vitamin C is like all these other components around it. The other one is using the envelope with the address and the stamp and all that on to make sure it gets delivered to where it's needed. And you can then even ask them a question about it. You could say like, right, how would you feel if you wrote a brilliant letter to your mum or a loved one, and you wrote this awesome letter and you put it in an envelope, you sealed it with a kiss, you put your stamp on it, and you then posted it? How would you feel if you knew that that letter, just all of that heart and soul that you just poured into that letter, how would you feel if you just knew that she never got to experience that letter? And they would say things like, well, you know, I feel a bit shit. I'd wonder, you know, why it didn't get there. And say, well, it didn't get there because you didn't put the address on the envelope. It's the same with all these nutrients that people are necking. They haven't got the matrix around them, so these nutrients don't know where they're supposed to go in the body. You need to have nature in it. You need to have the matrix. Otherwise, you're going to be doing this and then you're going to be paying for expensive pee. And usually what will happen, and you can say to people, right, come on, be honest, who's that toxic pee? If I've got personal trainers in front of me, oh my God, the colours and the stuff, the conversations that come out of their pee, because these people are necking all these synthetic, you know, stuff while they're training every single day. And they're like, what, it's not meant to be this colour? Or it's not meant to smell like this? And I'm like, holy crap, guys, if that stuff's coming out of you every single day, why do you think it's coming out of you? Because you're putting something in you that needs to come out.
What's being left behind?
Exactly.
So you can go in so many different directions with these conversations, and you'll have the confidence to be able to reel it back in anytime you want, because you'll know, right, okay, now I've explained the superfood matrix delivery system. I've spoke to them about their supplements. You haven't even talked about one product properly in detail. All you're doing is sharing a conversation around a drink that they've had. So then you can go into, okay, before we even go into that, let's get you in pairs. Let's try this. So everyone buddy up.
A little bit too precise in that I want to know how he felt about it. And he was just telling me what it is.
Okay, great question.
And I want to know what he felt about it. What was he getting from
Yeah.
And then what I made him say, just talk about what you got from it.
Yeah.
Then I was interested, what was that? What's next?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know what he was doing.
This is beautiful because
and then suddenly
this stops you regurgitating the information.
Yeah.
Because what can happen is the trap that you then suddenly get it and you're like, I've got it. And you're like on all this autopilot and you just with this barrage of information going into people, and certain people aren't ready for that.
They're asking for it now by then, they want to know. But it's real information.
Exactly. So
it's live, it's living.
Brilliant. So again, this is all good feedback. Remember, and we'll go through individual groups. There's no bad feedback. This is really starting to carve you up into, into being really authentic with what the person in front of you needs. Because I can go and talk about this stuff where, like, Orpheus coming in and say, she knows what I'm like. There isn't anywhere I go now where I'll just, unless I'm really tired and I'm travelling somewhere and I want to sleep, usually I'm looking, right, who can I engage with? Who can I connect with? Who can I spark up such a freaking cool conversation with? And before you know it, the passion is coming out and they're saying, when's your next event? And that happens within a few minutes now. Because I'm tuned in to exactly what they want. What I used to do was I used to do the trap. I would talk about my stuff with so much passion, I would drain people that by the time I was done, they were like this prune. I'd squeezed every bit of life force out of them because I just gave them all this information. And I felt freaking awesome, and I'm thinking, I don't know what, forget that person. That person hasn't got it. No, I just drained the hell out of them. That's what happened. Whereas when you realise that, what's this person want in this moment? And what he wanted was your direct experience of the supplements. And that has nothing to do with what we just spoke about. Because suddenly he's like, well, hang on a minute, how can I talk about the superfood matrix when he wants to know about my experience? And that's why we role play. Because questions will come up in role play that can only come up when you role play. This isn't something I want you to be an academic with and I want you to go and study this and we're going to certify you and I want to test you on certain procedures that our stuff goes through, and if you don't get it right, you're not certified. No, that's the stupidest way of living. That's falling in the trap of what the education system fell in. Just regurgitating information. What people want is, right, well, how has this affected you? There will be some people who won't give a shit how it affected you. They just want to know the science, they just want to know the facts. And in those ones, give them what they want. Because we're all wired up differently. So, what this will give you is the ability to be able to really focus in with compassion, with caring, and that's why I went the bit about the beginning. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When they really feel that you're caring about them, their barriers just naturally drop. Because I could see he was really testing him. He was a perfect partner. And this is why, you, honestly, when you role play, you never want it to run smoothly. You never want it to be, oh, well, that was easy, because then you haven't really learned. You want to be comfortable with being out your comfort zone. That has to happen, where you're so far out of it, and you're like, well, actually, I'm actually okay here. And what was the analogy that you just said about the...
Oh, being a tourist and going to Japan for the first time, you don't know the language, you don't know the country, you don't know where you are, instead of going with a qualified tour guide and that you can direct you and everything. And also I said about aliens.
So all these little things will come up, and you'll find that if you got somebody who like a story like that, and again I'm just stuff's just coming off the bat, so not a great metaphor, but let's say that someone's just been on holiday. And you could say, now what would it have been like if you arrived at that place and you just wandered that city and you didn't know where you was going, you didn't know the sights, you didn't know any of the history, you didn't know, what would be your experience? Okay, grade from 1 to 10, 3. Right, now if I gave you a tour guide, and this tour guide took you personally to all these hot spots, and you got to learn the history about the place, and you travelled in style, and then this person's exposing all these stories about the history, how would that trip be? Oh, that'd be a 10 out of 10. Yeah, that's kind of how the Superfood Matrix delivery system works. It's delivering that wisdom, that knowledge, that information all around your body so that your body can function at optimum levels without it breaking down. Has your body ever broken down before? Yeah. Tell me about it. Put them in state. And say, right, how did that feel? Well, that freaking sucked. Say, do you know, and ask them the question, do you know all of that can be avoided by different lifestyle choices? And at that point, if they go yes, then you expose some of the 10 commandments for health. Or you expose, look, you know, we've got this event coming up, it's free of charge for you, and you're going to be exposed to a whole bunch of lifestyle choices, these 10 commandments for health that you can start to incorporate in your life, and they're going to have major shifts on you. Do you want to come? Because every time you hold one of these little parties or get-togethers, you want to make sure they sign up under your link. You've got your link there, you say, well, you know what, why don't we sign you up? Because as soon as you sign up, you start getting emails immediately preparing you for the event. So the sooner we get you signed up, the sooner you start preparing. And they'll be like, sweet. And there'll be no resistance whatsoever. And what you'll find is, before you know it, like what Orphe was saying, she goes, oh my God, this is so cool, because you're going to be walking around like thinking, oh, here's a bunch of people, I bet I can get them signed up. And she's the type of person that will go and do it. She's got so much friggin' front. Honestly, she'll go in with a bunch of friggin' strangers, and before you know it, she knows this about and that about and this or that. And it's just the way she's wired up. So now, she would know that when she's gone through these things, oh my God, I can just drop that into a conversation. And you'll be looking for the bits where you can drop this in. And someone's going to say something and you'll go, there's my entry, boom, and you come flying in there. So let's have, okay, who really struggled with explaining the superfood matrix delivery system?
I did.
You did, yeah? What did you struggle with?
Well, Angel, what did I struggle with?
I really resisted saying all of it, but
yeah, that kind of said everything. It was like,
I'm sorry.
More practice. More
Yeah.
practice.
I think possibly it's, I don't know if you're understanding everything with the language, is that, or is it just you're not quite, he's
Well,
not
not
sure
so
of it
confident.
himself,
Wow.
so he can't
Yeah.
fully express it.
okay, so what we'll do is, what's the time? Have we got about, we've got at least half an hour, haven't we?
9:30.
Oh wow,
Half an hour.
okay, exactly half
Can
an
I
hour.
just first say something?
Okay,
Skip?
yep.
Like so I was with Darius first of all, and you know, like you were saying about Eric, and you know, for me, all the whole metaphors, analogies, all that stuff, my eyes glaze over. I find it really boring. All I want to know is the juicy detail. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
You're great.
So with Darius, when he was doing, he was just hearing metaphor after metaphor after metaphor. But in that instance, had he dropped it back to himself and then just said, well, look, I can tell you where to get the information, that would be enough. Do you know what I mean? So I think with people who don't feel confident, even just blagging it about what the products do to the detail,
Yeah, don't
you
even
can
try
always
and
just
blag
say,
it.
just say about
Honestly.
your own personal experience, what it did for me. People I know, they overcame this. First of all, they thought it was too much. First of all, they thought it wouldn't have any effect. Then this happened. This is how their life has changed. I can send you the link. Do you know what I mean? I just feel if you fall back on that, you've always got to, no matter what people's language is.
Absolutely.
You know?
And this is key again for tuning into the person that's in front of you. Because there are, if you're a left-brainer, metaphors and stories have no influence on you whatsoever. Like someone like Doug, I just have to give him the science, the facts, and that's it. There's no imagination needed, there's no beautiful picture, none of that has any effect on him whatsoever. Whereas somebody else, those facts could actually put them off.
Yeah.
The actual facts of, right, this is how it works, they're like, no, tell me a story. No, I want to know like some nice metaphor or something so they can go and use that part of their brain that likes to be alive and be activated in that conversation. So it's really key you find out what does this person want. And you never put pressure on yourself, and you want to be able to give yourself the freedom to say, well, you know what, that's such a good question. I'm quite new in the company. We're learning about a whole bunch of stuff, and that specific question, I've got the information that I can send it to you, but I can't recall it in this moment. So I've got the question, I've noted it, and I'll email you the information. That the logical part of that brain will then be satisfied. That, okay, great, I'm going to receive this information. And then you can go into maybe your own story or somebody else's story, or a new question comes up. Because the last thing you want to feel is, oh shit, I now look like I don't know my stuff, or I don't know this information. You're not expected to know the information. The whole point of doing this ambassador program is for you guys to go out there and talk about it, one, from your own experience, but we're going to guide you in certain ways that you can spark up conversations. you can give them certain information, you can get them to come to certain places, and the whole point of that is to serve them. You're not meant to be beating yourself up in that process. You're not meant to be putting pressure on yourself. Like my brother over here came up to me, and I hope you don't mind me being totally honest. He came up to me in the kitchen and goes, "Let's skip. I'm not sure where I fit in because all this information's going over, going over my head." Right, hands up, honestly, how many other people kind of felt the same? Where there was a lot of information going in and you're thinking, shit, am I going to be able to remember this and say it in the right way?
I was thinking, have I got time to study this? 'Cause I like to
There you go. Yeah. Have I got time to study this? So all of these, I know what's going on within every single one of you. Whereas when it's made as an enjoyable experience for you guys as well. This is why, like, when have a look at the video. If you guys get time tonight, it was how long was it? Half an hour? Yeah. So it's 30 minutes.
Send it this morning, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you guys have a look at that video, you'll know that that specific video is around just the Superfood Matrix delivery system. So you don't even have to have that conversation with them. You can just say, look, we're holding this party, and I want you to see this video. It's going to take half an hour of your time, but it's going to save us half an hour at the event because then we can get straight into some really good stuff. And then you've gone and showed it to them, and they say, well, if you've got any questions around, if you've got any other questions around that, go back to the video. You can go back to the video. You guys are going to have cheat sheets as well, so you'll have all the frequently asked questions, it's all going to be in stuff that you can say, hey, you know what? All the info's in here, take that. And then you're just giving them another gift. And the people who are left-brainers, they get their information. The people who are the right-brainers, they'll like it because we're going to make it look pretty and nice and stuff. So it's going to serve them. So the idea is that you've even left a lead behind with all this stuff in. Because then they've had it from a video, they've had it through you, they've had it through a written little document. You've done your bit.
Also, sorry to skip, if we're handing out flyers or whatever, and obviously you can't always access the internet straight away to link them on your own link, what do you do? Just put your name on the flyer?
What we said we're going to do last week is...
Or a tick box when they sign up on the general, who did you hear this from?
There'll be a blank box.
Yeah, we're going to leave a blank section in the box where you can either get a stamp or write your link in there.
Yeah.
So that when you say to them, look, are you interested? Go on this link. Now, if they don't do that, and human error will come up, just be aware that when you know that you've got certain people coming to supercharge your life, just let Duke know to say, look, these are the ones in my downline. Just check all these names, make sure that they're under me, because I bought them here.
When you're handing leaflets out to people,
yeah, because
you don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
This is why doing the parties, you either want to have them at.
Yeah, but can you have just a box? Like, you know when you fill out the form, like when we do new clients in the clinic, and say, how did you hear about us? Just all it is, how did you hear about us?
Okay.
Was it the web? Was it a student? Was it flyer? Where did you pick the flyer up from? So that means if I've done a lot of flyers in the clinic, you know it's from me.
Yeah.
There is two answers to that. One, people actually register less, and B, most people don't even if it was you, they'll just skip that bit.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing. So I think just having the direct link is better. So your link would be skiparkmedias.com/SB. So just be blank, you just write an SB on the 20 or so. I know it's 20 right out, but I think that'd be the best way.
That's
just
great.
that way
That's great because
it takes out the
brilliant. I didn't realise. I didn't understand you were doing that. Okay, cool.
So what we want to encourage is that when it's just handing out leaflets, there's no relationship, there's no contact. So the idea is that wherever your place is, like at the hospital, there can be a place with your link in, but you want to be really sort of targeting certain people, because then you'll realise that you'll have so much more influence when they can trust you.
Yeah, sure.
So much more, because then it's like your best mate saying, look, this 2 days is going to freaking transform your life. And as a mate, I'm telling you, come down. You're not going to regret it. Yeah. And suddenly, you have that influence over them because they trust you. Yeah. Otherwise, if you don't have that trust and you're saying it, they'll feel like you're trying to manipulate them. And they'll feel like, why is this person trying to get me to go to this event? Because that initial groundwork of the trust between you and them hasn't been
No, but a lot of
fused.
people are seeking minds. A lot of people that come to the health food shop and the clinic, they're already looking for stuff. So especially if it's a free event, they're going to come.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
There's one thing that Kashi did which helped start the conversation. She asked, well, what supplements do you take? And then I said, oh, I take this, this and this. And then she picked vitamin C out of the list. Or you could just kind of, if they don't have one, then just say, well, let's talk about vitamin C. And maybe it's about people's, if you're wondering how to start this whole explanation, that might, your brain stops, doesn't it? Go,
Yeah.
I want to start this.
yeah.
So that was a
Cool.
good way to start.
Cool. Okay, let's have one comment from everyone on something good that their partner did when they was talking about it.
There's that for you.
Yeah.
I really liked the fact that Sam actually covered the whole aspects, the important aspects of. So that was included also the single vitamins, the individual vitamins, and then the superfood matrix, and also this was the example of the letter which is not delivered, where it doesn't have the address. So it was like the consistency of sort of introducing slowly and getting more sort of into details. So I think that was covered in a great way.
Good job. Good student.
So well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Cool. Well done. Okay, we'll fly through because I want you to do your bit. Yeah.
Well, I've already said it,
Yeah.
the way she introduced it, and it was very storytelling, so it just unfolded nicely, and she built up quite an emotion around the letter issue and how that, what would it feel like if that went missing, you just literally posted it. So
Cool.
it was really well structured. And,
Good job. Well done.
Cool. Yeah, it was.
I like the fact that he needs to remember some stuff that I've forgotten about other supplements not being organic, so some of the details that I've forgotten.
Cool.
That's it.
Good job.
What drew me in was when Lucy told the story through her experience. I just connected instantly, so
Cool.
that was the main thing. Yeah.
Makes such a big difference when you're telling your story. It's the whole frequency that comes out of someone when it's their story, because then you're not even thinking about it. It's just you remember it. It's like telling someone about something that happened on a holiday or something that happened that was part of your journey. It just comes out. And the whole point is that you want to be able to be so free and be able to talk to these people like you're having a conversation with a best friend or family member, where you're never up in your head, you're so in your body that it's just, you want to connect in great ways.
Can I make a point at this stage? Just something that's just popped into my head. Bloody hell, that's a close-up.
I can't get much further away.
You know when you go into a restaurant and you ask the waiter, well I do, you know, what's the favourite, what's the best dish on the menu? What's your favourite? Oh, I don't know, I haven't tried any of them. Or you say, oh, what's this one like? And he's like, oh, I don't know. You kind of think, oh my God, what kind of staff do they have? They don't even know what their own food tastes like. So how's he supposed to sell that dish to me? Well, I've never been in that restaurant before and I don't know what this is, you know? I think it's the same with any product really. So my suggestion would be, coming from a sales background as well, it's a good idea to actually take the supplements. I don't know if you've covered this already, but just take the supplements and see how it works for you, and then you'll be in a better position to say what it does for you. Have you already said that?
Oh yeah, we can't. One of the fundamental rules is people can't become an ambassador unless they're taking it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're going out there and they've just become a sales rep, and I'm not interested in employing sales reps.
Because people will ask, oh yeah, do you, I mean that's one of the first things I would ask somebody who's trying to sell me something. Oh, have you tried it and what's it like? When am I supposed to take that and when am I supposed to take this? And so you've just got to get right into it. You've got to try all of it and you've got to know exactly what it does. So
yeah, I agree with that. If I can just share something, this happens exactly with my product, my cakes, which are obviously vegan, gluten-free, no refined sugar. And I actually get the questions quite often from people, are you vegan? And then it's about sugar. And I said, yeah, I cut sugar 10 years ago. And I was like, wow. how did you do that?
Yeah, yeah.
This is basically how the conversation starts.
Yeah, and then it's just an easy flowing conversation. And she's doing an awesome job. I saw her on Fitness First. She's out there, she's presenting it, she's giving people tasters of it. She's really following her path. So, honour, give her a round of applause. It's a big step. It's she's going out there and taking her stuff out there. And you have to live and breathe it. You really do. So.
Oh yeah. I have Angus, and I love the way you were inclusive, and you cared about me, and you were sharing the fact that you didn't want me to be ripped off as well. The detail was brilliant, and you really convinced me. Yeah, that was excellent.
Good job.
Okay.
Are you going to buy then?
So you make a commit. Go on.
Can I just ask something? Can we hear a bit of what you said? Do you want me to hold that?
We haven't got time.
No, we haven't got
Are
time.
you sure?
Yeah.
Angus is very
But
short.
I'm willing to another time.
We'll not let this go. Tracy.
Oh, I had I'm just glad to turn up, bitch. No.
That's good enough. Let's move on.
No, it was really authoritative. I must admit, I like the way it was clear in what he was saying. It was, yeah, it was very clear and precise in what he was saying. Like I said before, though, I can't get turned off when someone's too precise. I don't know. He's been doing it so long now. He probably isn't thinking about what he's saying to me. So, but I mean, like I said before, if he just put a little bit of himself in there, I'll be all the way. I'll be asking him more than he actually he's telling me.
But that's such good feedback because it's easy to bring your own stuff into it.
Cool. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to do it, so we're going to do it on the phone.
Cool.
Yeah, we just didn't get around.
But please do it.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
we will.
Because it will make
No, we will.
the things that are going on, for your brain. When you realise that you can actually share it and get the feedback and realise that actually this is really easy, and I can actually go around and start to make positive impacts on people's lives. This is actually really freaking cool because now I know this person over here who suffered with this symptom doesn't have it anymore. Or now I've got this person coming to me saying, hey, this problem I had, I just don't have it anymore. And you're the one that instigated their transformation. It is such a freaking cool place to be in life when you know that you can go out there with anyone, no barriers, and add value. It's so freaking cool. All that you need to do when you hold the parties is make sure that the people who are coming to the parties can be in a position to actually buy the stuff. Because you could have, let's say that you line up, I don't know, 15 people around a house or something like this. If you've gone and got all of those people, but they all come from the job centre, they're not really going to be able to commit. They might come to Supercharge Your Life, but they won't be able to commit to the advanced courses, or they won't be able to commit to being on the supplements regularly. So that's not going to help you build that income. So you just have to be aware of all that stuff. And it doesn't mean that you forget about them, but it means that you target the ones that can actually start to make a difference without money being any objective.
But having that said, I wouldn't judge people because I've been in another company, and when people need to find finance, they'll sell their laptop, they'll sell their car.
Oh, absolutely.
They're doing anything.
Yeah.
So not necessarily.
Yeah, we had it with Eddie, who I use as the example from Asia. He sold us flat to come and do self-mastery PhD. So, and he tells a story now. I mean, he's flying. He looks like a freaking catwalk model. His business has gone through the roof, and it's a great story. So, I want you guys to have these stories yourselves, where you've gone up to someone and you've just helped them go over the edge. You've given them that good little nudge, and we bring them in the environment. That they find a whole bunch of people that are on a similar sort of tip to them. And when you get that feedback come in, I can't find a word to explain that feeling. It's the freaking coolest feeling ever. Because it's like something in you is so open. I mean, literally so open so you don't have to think. And that just comes straight to the person in front of you. And sometimes you'll find yourself being really forceful. I had Sarah from Girls Aloud. the session I had with her here, the last session I had, I was so hard on her because she's gone through what a lot of pop stars go through. You have everything, it then gets taken away, and you don't have a clue what created it. You don't have a clue what compounded it, and you're just left there dangling with press on you, not saying nice stuff. And it's not a nice place to be in. And I had made a decision 3 days ago that I wasn't going to coach her. And I'm going to do the call today where I said, I don't think I'm your coach. And straight away, because what I did in that session was I planted a whole bunch of seeds. And you never know how those seeds are going to grow. So with her, there were so many seeds that needed to be planted in all areas of her life, not just a few. I mean, this was like sweeping her whole life like in this sort of mad, turbulent, every area was out of control. You know, there wasn't balance. You know, it wasn't like I could use this area as a reference to then unfold other areas. Every single area of her life was just like chaos. And I planted one seed to do with somewhere where I knew she was going to go. And I thought, right, if she goes to this place, she's going to get off her face, and I can't. That's not going to allow things to unfold the way they need to. So when I get on the phone and I said, right, last Saturday, what happened? And I'm getting ready to hear the frickin' stories. And she goes, I didn't go out. I said, what do you mean you didn't go out? She goes, I didn't want to get involved with all the carnage. She said, I didn't go. I went out and I lied looking at the stars in a hammock. My frickin' heart ripped open. Because now, what I gave her in the moment, I was tougher on her than probably anyone has ever been, but with love. Not in a way where I was trying to do it my way, so you have to do this. And as a result of that, I can now see what can unfold for her. But she had to do her bit. And you'll have this with people, where you'll plant a seed, but be prepared to let go of everyone. Because if you're going to try and hold people up, that can get really heavy. And I did that for years, and it drained the hell out of me. All you need to do is go there, be your best, say your bit, and then you leave. And that's it.
Can I just add to that story? My best friend, she's doing a thesis at the moment for a big international development course that she's doing. And she texts me and says, can I talk? I'm like, no, I'm working. No, I really need to talk. And she tells me she's freaking out about her dissertation. And I'm like, yeah, you freak out over everything. I've counted you through so many freakouts. And I just gave her no time at all. And I went, look, I'm going to say this harshly, but for once, would you just grow up and sort yourself out? This is not acceptable. You do this again and again and again. Just sort it out. I'm done with, just please. And I sent off this text message, and she came back and she was pretty nice and said, right, put your dissertation down, go for a run. I'll speak to you when you come back from your run. I'm going also to do the same thing. Text her again, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because I said, right, we're going to do this hour by hour now because I'm sick of this. And then the next thing I know, it's the next morning, she hasn't come back to me, and she says, yeah, I've decided I've really got to master this, because if I'm going to work for the UN, I'm going to have to be able to cope with situations like this. And I went, oh, thank goodness. She'd finally come to her own decision, because I couldn't tell her myself, because I've said that to her so many times, but she never owned it. But when I slapped her on her face and told her to grow up, she went, oh. And then she actually found herself. And it was exactly the
So
same
you
thing.
just broke her out of that pattern, because she was used to somebody telling her and kind of being a bit needy, but you kind of just whipped her into shape.
Like,
Say,
I
hey.
always whip her into shape, but I'm never that harsh. I've never told her to grow up and stop her shit. And that was it.
And so long as you're in balance when you say that stuff, you'll be amazed at what you can tell people. Honestly, if some people saw what goes on in this room when I do some coaching sessions, it's insane what some of the stuff that happens. But it's because I have no limits. I only want to serve. And that some people are stuck in their rut. It's just like a needle going around on a radio. It keeps going around and around and around. The more it goes around, the deeper the groove gets. And then you get them out the groove, and boom, they go around, boom, back into the groove. And eventually they'll stay out the groove. If you scratch that enough times, it can't get back in the groove. that's how humans are wired up. You just really need to be able to allow yourself to tune into them. Mother Teresa, one of the most powerful people on this planet. She didn't know NLP. She didn't know anything to do with coaching. What she had was one of the biggest hearts. She just wanted to help people. That's how she did her bit. When you're in your heart, everything that you need will come up. So you need to trust yourselves. Now, I know we're going over a bit. 25 minutes?
Okay.
Yeah? Right. What we're going to do
We've only got 5 though.
What's that?
We've got 7.
Oh, shoot. Are you guys alright to call past?
Yeah, I've just got somebody coming though. Is that alright if he comes in?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Go for it.
Okay. Is anyone here who wasn't here last week?
Oh, cheers.
Hello, I'm Angus. I've already met Sharon. Hello, Hina.
Yeah.
Everyone else knows who I am, right? Doing a bit of work on teamwork. Okay, very good. I'm just going to get my computer out.
Do you know what would be
Okay, so who can tell me what happened at the end of last week's session?
We had homework.
That's right. We had homework. Who didn't do the homework? Okay.
Didn't do it completely.
Okay, completely. Do it completely. Okay. Who did do it completely? Okay. Now,
hello, 3 degrees.
how do you? Okay, who'd like to say how do you deal with the fact that everybody's making themselves wrong right now?
I'm not.
Everyone's making them.
We shoot Sam.
Well, criticise them.
Oh yeah.
We feel bad.
Yeah, we just eject
Yeah.
Sam out of the room.
So what are we going to do about?
We'll
What are we going to
kill.
do about that?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, to some people it does. So how are we going to let go of that? How are we going to get past that?
It's done. Move on.
Yeah.
Or not done as good
Okay.
as it.
Anyone not able to move on? Anyone giving themselves a hard time? You spoke to me earlier. Are you? Can you draw a line past it, or are you still upset about it? Or?
Well, if you ask me questions, I can answer them right now. I want to reach all the people that let it and break this event
Okay.
as much as possible.
Okay. Well, the point is just forgive yourself. Okay.
What was that about then? What's that so big deal?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that. Homework's going to be the same this week. So.
New homework.
So we didn't have it kind of totally ready at the time. So we sent it out during the week on email. So.
I'm not doing homework since high school. Sorry.
No, it's not that sort of homework.
Blue.
All this is what we've just been talking about, but kind of slightly structured. Okay? So,
That's fine.
we've been talking about sharing this movement, the work, the benefits with other people, right? So all this is taking that into a different, expanding that. That's all it is. Okay? So, the question 1 is, in an ideal world, who in my life would I want to participate in Supercharge Your Life on April 18th and 19th? Okay? So just write a list for yourself. It's completely up to you. You can write a list of 2 people or 200.
So what I'd like to do is, while we're doing this, is to start your list now. Because when you make a little a section in your phone or on a pad, and you start to actually focus, right, who would I actually like to bring to Supercharge Your Life on the 18th and 19th? And you actually do that, what happens is that whole neurological pathway that gets created, suddenly, when you're relaxed, boom, another person's going to come, another person, and your list will get filled up without you having to think about it. The whole thing will just come through an instinct, and you'll be going to work, another person will come in, and you'll pull up your notes, and you'll add it in. And before you know it, this whole list has come up, and it's taken up no time in your day. So let's just spend 30 seconds just starting that list. So whether it be...
Everyone get a pen and paper or digital listing device.
Yeah. So it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a work colleague, it could be...
One of the problems I'm having with this is though, because I'm not going to be there. I don't know. It's more like I want to get people there, but if I'm not going to be there with them, I know it doesn't really matter.
No,
But
it doesn't
part
matter.
of me,
No, it doesn't matter. You got to learn what works.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fast track you guys now, because if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If you get 10 people signing up for self mastery, you walk away with $4 grand and you haven't even.
Oh no,
even
no,
bit
no,
that
I'm
you
not
got.
even thinking about that side.
No,
of
no, you
things.
should be.
Okay.
That's what you should be thinking about. Not does it matter if I'm there or not.
The thing is, that's a valid problem, right? So what could you create around that? If you're not going to be there, what else could you create for those people?
Whatever they
My mum's going, and a couple of people who have already been, so I've got them arranged to meet up with her first of all. So.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, Angel. Like, even people around here, you know, if you've got
See,
a group
we're
of
a team.
people, there's definitely people more likely to turn up when you're going to go there with them.
Yeah.
But if you say, oh, Darius, you know, here's Darius's number, get in the chat to them. Hey guys, you know.
Mum's already going to pick you out.
Yeah,
so.
do you know what I mean? So, I
It's
definitely
really
think that.
important as well, because there will be times when Angel was just saying that she can't be at the event, and there's a little bit of weird feelings inside where she feels uncomfortable that she's not going to be there, but that people she's suggesting should go there are going to go without her being there.
I think that's more about me rather than them, though.
Don't worry.
Okay, you lot should do it straight away. So the idea now, she's thinking as an individual. I don't want any of us to be thinking as individuals anymore. Cells don't work as individuals. If they do, they become cancerous. This is what we want: full communication between everyone. So what should be the thought process is, guys, I've got some people coming to this event. I'm not going to be able to be there. Who can look after them for me?
Yeah.
And immediately you'll have team members come up and they'll say, give me a list. And when they get there, say, you're here through Angel, aren't you? Oh, fantastic. Oh my God, you have such an amazing weekend. Boom, here's your seats. Type thing. And it's done as quick as that. That little introduction means the world to people.
And the more information we can give about them, then we can suit it to our personalities. Like if somebody's more into medical, a dancer, or whatever, you can make sure they, you know.
Exactly that. And that's what will happen eventually, where you one step ahead. I like that.
Sorry.
No, I like it. So what will happen is that when you're bringing people to the event, let's say that you've got someone who is more scientific or someone who's really more into sports, you'll know other ambassadors and you'll say, look, so-and-so is just like you. And suddenly they can look at someone and without a single word, that vision of that person, there'll be a connection where they're like, sweet, I can be at home in this place. All you want to be doing is looking for every single thing that takes their resistance away. It's like peeling off layers. You peel off another layer, eventually you get to that magic that's inside. And that's a way where suddenly there's no resistance in you not being there.
Yeah.
There's more connection with the team. There's a smooth journey for your people that you're bringing there. Everyone still gets served.
And where would you have the names? Would you have it on the list in the morning? So when people are arriving, then whoever's ticking them off say, oh, hi, we've been expecting you. Angel mentioned that you're coming. You know,
Yeah,
the
it can
people,
be, absolutely.
Because then it's that welcome, isn't it? They feel welcome right from the start instead of walking and feeling awkward and thinking, oh God, Angel's not here, we don't know anyone, what are we doing, let's walk out.
Yeah, exactly.
But also Angel can say, well, you know, ask for Sharon, ask for Sarah, ask for so-and-so.
Yeah.
You know, I've
Exactly.
already told them that you're coming. Just say you need to speak to so-and-so.
So we could call it Friends of Ambassadors list or something.
Yeah.
And you could have a little star next to her name so you know, and then Angel's, I don't know how you're going to work
You
it
can
out.
tell she's a right brain, a little star.
Bloody.
Star makes
Little gold star, is that?
And kind of go, aha, we've been expecting you. The band.
Okay.
Red carpet.
Right, so that list, keep adding to that list. Now
I
you
feel like a VIP then, you see.
Yeah.
And
So,
I've said, yeah, go on.
so now you've got that list. Make do something in your brain which says, right now I'm going to start adding to this list, because that will become your inner circle. They'll become your people of influence. The idea is that even in your normal jobs, you become someone that really has such a positive influence, because you might find yourself at a football Sunday league somewhere, and before you know it, you've got the manager asking you about this event or about these supplements or the superfoods, and you say, well look, I can explain it to you, but since we've got the whole team here, why don't I just explain it to the whole team? Save you regurgitating it, I'll save you a job. Sweet. And then boom, before you know it, you've got an entire team that you're presenting this stuff to that are looking for stuff that's going to give them the edge. It's really knowing, right, how do I get in with these people? What do I say to them? How do we get them to the event? I mean, can you imagine bringing a whole football team or a rugby team or a hockey team or someone like that under you to the event, and you literally watch a whole team go through a process, you'll see them at a certain level. And I want you guys to do this at this Supercharge, where you see how people come in. I really want you guys to get this awareness where vibrationally, energetically, looks-wise, physique-wise, posture, connection, all of these things, I just want you guys to have awareness of, right, where's this person at now? And then to clock it again on Sunday afternoon. You won't believe the shift in less than 48 hours. It's unbelievable. It is so... And when you start to see it, you're going to be like, shit, we need to be living every freaking day supercharged properly. And that's when it'll start. And as you start to see it, it drops into your psyche even more, because then it becomes a part of who you are. So, sorry.
That's all right. I suggest that I've got some places on the question which you will be emailed if you haven't already. Places to look: your phone list, your Facebook friends, LinkedIn, Twitter, other social media, work connections, colleagues, clients, managers, and other family and friends, and complete strangers that you meet. So it's just ideas to trigger for your list. Okay, the second question is: how could each individual friend or connection benefit from, or what could he or she get from participating in Supercharge Your Life in April?
Now, with a question like that, do you guys understand that question? It's such a powerful question. Because again, it tunes you into them. When you're looking at this person, you're thinking, right, what can this person gain from Supercharge Your Life? Now, again, you can have a dozen different people in front of you, and they can all gain different things. There might be someone who's always getting colds. And suddenly you can say, you know what, if you live this way, you wouldn't have to deal with this stuff all the time. You wouldn't have to keep necking these headache tablets, or someone who gets headaches frequently, or someone who needs to lose weight, or someone who finds it hard connecting with people, or someone who's just lost their passion in life. You can look through any one of the 10 Commandments for health and see what people are lacking. And you can have the 10 Commandments for health in front of you and be looking at this person thinking, right, how would this person gain from Supercharged Life? And you look at them, you go back to the 10 Commandments for health, oh my God, this person would gain more energy, or this person would gain more connection, or this person's going to gain, and it will come out. And then when you go to them and you start engaging in conversation, at the right point, it will flow out of you. And say, so, you know, and get them to imagine it. Have them in the hotspot and say, can you imagine what life would be like if you had X, or if you didn't have X? And then leave them to ponder on that thought for a little bit. You know, what would your life be like if you didn't have to take these antibiotics? What would your life be like if you didn't have these aches and pains? What would your life be like if you didn't have all this excess fat that you don't need? What would your life be like if you didn't have whatever? You know, it's endless what can come out. And what you'll find is that the more you start to tune into people with different belief systems, and again, this is not giving you academic stuff, the more you tune into them, the more you're connecting to humanity again. Because this whole connection thing, this is why social media kicked off like crazy. Because people missed the connection. They didn't have it, and they went and got it from a virtual, on a virtual platform. Whereas when you can have that in real life with people, it's freaking awesome. It really is super freaking cool. I mean, you've like when we were boarding, anywhere we went, boom, we just struck up conversation with people immediately, anywhere. There's no barriers with anything. You connect with people as children connect. You know, little children in a playground building sandcastles, they just connect. They're not thinking about anything, they're not worried about anything. And that's what you'll get, but you'll get to go and connect with that way, but you got this toolbox loaded up with stuff that can serve them. That's the difference. You're going in there armed.
Great. Next question is, in what ways could I benefit from each person on my list participating in Supercharge Your Life in April? So you're actually thinking about what you could get out of this person doing it.
Absolutely.
It
has to be a win-win.
It's an unusual kind of question, but
I actually find that one harder than the sort of like the second one. Sort of like what
yeah,
do they
you have
gain
to look
from
at
it?
yourself.
Yeah.
But okay, to give you an idea, like so, to get
Hello.
Is it James?
Oh yeah.
Hello, mate. Hello. Can someone get the door, please? So to give you an idea, what can I gain from this? First of all, you can't help someone without helping yourself. You have to understand that. Every time you actually help someone, there's a part of you that gets served in that moment as well. So, first of all, you're helping yourself every single time because you're adding value to their lives. You really are going out there and you're in a position where you're a kind of vehicle that's allowing them to improve areas of their lives. And what you've done is you've been someone that's helped them instigate transformation. You've helped them make a decision. Other things that you can gain from it as well is anytime that you're focused on people, it tunes you into these 10 commandments for health. So eventually you will be living with these 10 things without even thinking about it. Because even at the moment, I know you've done Supercharge, some of you have done Breakthrough and Detox, and I know you're still not living them. Why? Because that's life. But when you do live with them, without even thinking about it, it becomes so life becomes so fluid for you that you become so flexible in any moment in time. You are fired up in the moment to serve yourself, but you're also then just looking, right, how can I serve more people? And you'll really start to play games around, right, I want to get to these people. How can I do it? And you'll realise that the best way you can get with people is by playing games with them. It's the best freaking way. Because then there's no barriers. There's no blockage. There's no, oh, you're not better than them, you're not worse than them. You're playing a game. You're on an equal playing field. So.
Okay.
You've got 1 minute left, Angus.
These are
Not many.
Yeah.
Okay. This is about action. By which method of communication, such as phone call, text, email, Facebook message, tweet, meeting in person, and at what time, on which day, will I communicate with each of these people?
Perfect.
In other words, it's not real until you schedule it.
Yeah.
It's a very short way of saying it.
Yeah.
So if something has a time and a day, even if you end up changing that time and day, it has a reality to it. Otherwise, it's I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so put when you'd like to communicate with them specifically, even if you end up changing.
Can everyone post on the Facebook group as well?
You don't have to tell anyone else, but you.
I think it'd be good if everyone just even if it's just something, you know, just.
Can you send that link that I can use, then I can do it.
It's in the email today, but I'll send everyone the email again, and I've put your emails into the Facebook group ad, so you should have had a message from Facebook saying join the group as well. But if you've missed it, just let me know, and I'll make sure.
Or is there an ambassador group then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't got.
And
I haven't
I
got on that.
caved in and I'm now back on Facebook.
Yeah, I saw that, Angel. Very well done.
Okay, next question. We're running short on time.
Yeah.
Be ready to share which specific unpredictable results or breakthroughs and challenges I encountered in this process. What worked and what didn't work as I intended. So in other words, in sharing with these people, it's not all going to go smoothly. And some of it will produce amazing results you didn't expect, and some of it will go the other way. You'll produce, you'll upset people. You'll rub up against stuff. So that's the area where you can have development. That's the area where you can have growth. So we want to know what challenges you're coming up against in doing this. Obviously, you're stepping out your comfort zone, so you're going to come up against challenges.
And you guys have to know that if you're going through a challenge internally, you ain't alone. Yeah, brothers and sisters that are going through the same stuff, and it's really important that you can come and voice it in this environment, no matter what the fear is, no matter what the challenge is, because it's coming up to be released. That's why this stuff comes up to the surface. And the whole point is to give you freedom 24/7, so that you never get worried about anything. And at that point, that's when you really awaken inside the human body, because there's no bullshit involved anymore. No unnecessary, BS. And know that within here, nothing that you raise up is going to get laughed at. Nothing you raise up is going to be like pointed out like this is a stupid subject. No, I know exactly where you're at, and the freer you are, the more you flow again. So please don't be afraid to bring anything up. If you are afraid to bring it up in a group, if you're afraid to bring it up in a group, the best way to do it is to come and see me individually, because then you'll know I'll never share that with the group.
right.
Okay, linked, similar kind of question, going a little bit deeper. What is missing for me to be effective in communicating about Supercharge Your Life?
Ooh, that's a new one.
You added that.
That's new for this week. That wasn't last week.
Yeah, it was.
No?
What is missing in that question?
That is in the email.
It wasn't in last week's question.
Oh yeah, it was.
I'll check the
It
email.
wasn't.
So that's saying
What is missing for me to be effective in communicating about Supercharge Your Life?
Nothing.
Not last.
That wasn't there.
It's just.
Was it?
Life
What,
force.
sorry, who was it sent from?
Skip.
Skip.
Oh, it was from-
Gotta be, you've got to prove
It's
it.
not it's matter if it was there or not. The point is,
It's there now.
It's there now. It's there now.
the idea is to just keep looking.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's
an
the
inquiry.
thing is, when you've got, when you've had the experience of going to that event, all you're going to do is share your memories with people. That's why it's so freaking easy. There's no academic stuff. Yeah, there are going to be certain things around the products that it's going to be easy for you to give them the cheat sheets. The things where these are the benefits.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be. Oh yeah, it's in there. Yeah. Don't believe us, do you? So, what we're going to go through, by next week, you'll have the Bare Essentials and the Supercharged Essentials product info, but again, you're not going to have to regurgitate that. You'll send them the videos, they'll watch them. You can give them all the information on a leaflet as well. So they get, again, because some people will learn it through visual, they'll just watch it and learn it. Other people need to read it. And you give it all, and then you're sitting there talking to them as well. So you've got visual, kinesthetic and audio, all three ways that they absorb information. You just covered all three. And all you've got to do is really be a living example of what you're talking about. Lucy with the PB, great freaking story. So there we are, like hypothetically talking about getting a personal best, and she just did it. She did a half marathon last week, got a personal best, and that story is a success story. When I was like, everyone's immediately they're clapping because they're celebrating it. When you share that real story with people, and
That needs to go on Facebook, by the way.
It is.
It is. Okay. No, it's Facebook.
It was on WhatsApp as well, wasn't it?
Good recovery.
You put it on WhatsApp.
Not sure. It was definitely on Facebook.
Don't know.
yeah, I would say what's missing. Say what needs.
Well, with your permission.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I've created a new question.
You're going to run out of battery.
Skip through.
Okay. Oh, stop now then, because we'll lose it. So what we'll do is we'll send all those questions again, because they're going to be base things that, when it comes to stuff like this, here's how I'd like you guys to deal with this stuff. Keep going back to things like that. This email from that Angus has written. Go back to it and just read it, and without getting too woo-wooey, just set the intention out there to say, right, now it's in there, allow things to happen, because you're focused on it. Set the intention of, right, I want all this to unfold in a graceful way. I want all this to allow me to find the right people to bring to Supercharge Life that I can really service, that really do go through the courses. You start setting intentions like that and putting them out there, and you do it every single day. This is how come I've ended up owning 60% of this new movie, Eternal Youth. Everything I do, I'm teaching you guys. Of a movie that has the potential to be bigger than The Secret. And it's been going for 2 years before I even got involved in it. That's the stuff I want you guys to plug into, and you cannot get it by becoming an academic. Because it locks you in your brain, which has a certain frequency, but it's definitely not the superhuman frequency that I'm going to be talking about in the future.
Just a practical thing. Everything is to do with the ambassadors. Can it have in the subject line ambassadors? Because I get so many emails and it gets really confusing, especially
I start each one with Supercharged Ambassadors and then the subject.
Yeah, whatever
Just,
it is. Cool.
If you guys have any,
it doesn't matter, because sometimes you might have to send something, or Angus or whatever too, and so we know that it's about ambassadors. So I know that's important to look at first rather than something else.
Yeah, great idea.
So important.
well, this is what I was going to do. I was going to say Angus. We do the emails from Angus in future. Just when you see Angus's email, you know it's about ambassadors.
Doesn't matter as long as it's a
So-
subject title. It's got ambassadors. I know
Yeah.
I've got to open it.
Okay, we can work on that one.
Yeah.
I've invented a new question here with
Oh,
Skip.
come on, go home.
What needs to happen for me to be effective in living supercharge your life daily?
Yeah. So they're the questions for you guys to ponder. And when you are, because the thing is, when it comes to empowering questions, you get an empowering response. When you and I want you guys to be aware of what questions you're asking other people, what things you might be saying to yourself, and anything that doesn't serve you. I mean, anything, a thought process, an emotion, an action, anything. Just have the awareness this week. Don't even change anything. Don't even make a new decision unless you really want to. Just give yourself the freedom to be able to have the awareness. This is going on. Because when you've got the awareness and then you attach love to it, it's so freaking easy to make a decision. But we'll go through those processes. So there's way enough stuff for you guys to chew on this week. So before we break, any questions?
Not so much a question, but there is one thing that I'm kind of struggling with in some sort of way. So it kind of goes back to the breakthrough thing. Not directly related, but I had an opportunity this week to join Greg Zacker's Millionaire Fast Track. And I've signed up for it. I've managed to raise the £12,000 for it. I get given a £50,000 funded account to start trading with, which increases up to 5 million over sort of like 4 years. And I was really excited when the opportunity came up, really convinced that absolutely this is definitely what I have to go for. And since I've done it, it's now like, oh my God, what have I done? And it's like, if I start imagining what my future is going to be like down that path, it's almost like it's too big to fully grasp. And I think this is the same thing that's happening with the whole 10 Commandments. It's like, I know the power of where this is going, and it's almost like it's taken me somewhere that I've never been before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now finding myself, I mean, I'm pretty good at stepping outside my comfort zone, but this is almost in a way that it's more than I can imagine. And so it's completely into the unknown. And I'm now like, how do I get back to the point where this is actually okay?
I'm not getting the full question.
Fear of success.
Yeah.
It's probably the fear of actually being successful.
Isn't that a good place to be?
Okay, anytime that there's fear, there's something to be looked at.
Mm.
And
Fear of being seen. Sorry.
when you've got fear raising up the way it's raising up in you, fear's just fear.
Mm.
And whatever is happening to you, because I don't know your situation of what you're going through, what's creating the fear.
Mm.
But with what I'm getting already is that anytime that you end up in fear, you got to take a step back to say, right, what's my next step? And be consciously aware of what your next step is. Because otherwise what happens is, it's like this. Fear comes in, and you're looking at this fear, and you haven't got a clue where life is going, and you just stay fixed on fear, and you're not going anywhere. And the fear just stops you in your track, where it's like, hang on, right, just stop this. Okay, I've now realised I'm feeling fear. This isn't serving me. Right, what's my next step? And you just take your next step. Anything more than that, it's too big for you to handle. You go straight to overwhelmment.
That's
and that just knocks you straight off balance. Yeah. So it's the same thing like with what we was going through here. Don't allow fear to, and it's so easy to say it like this, but if fear comes up, just be aware and say, okay, what's my next step? And to be able to breathe into that question, okay, what's my next step? And something will come up. Always. And what you'll find is that you're going to start to live your life out your comfort zone. You're not going to be comfortable being in your comfort zone because you're going to feel like you're not growing. I hate being in my comfort zone. Honestly, my soul screams at me. It's like, you've been here before, we're too long, come on, come on, come on. And it just eggs me on, like, to get me into a situation where I have to think or be or act out of the box. And when you're really comfortable with that, I mean, I had a crash course in this. I had some of the most craziest things happen to me on stage in Asia in front of live audiences. And if I didn't have that thing that we're now talking about now, I would have looked like such a freaking donut. And I had Joel Bauer out in Bali throwing me some curveball questions in front of people, and he went, I couldn't believe the way you answered that. You took your time, you didn't allow yourself to be pressured, and what came out, I didn't know the answer, but I could guide him to the next place. And that's what they're looking for. What's their next step too? Because if they know what their next step is, they can continue their journey. All you need to know is what's my next step and what's their next step. Anything more than that, it gets too much.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Right, any more questions before we go?
No, very quickly.
Yep.
I missed last week the first 20 minutes, so the videos were great because I kind of didn't realise about the parties. Then it made sense. You're making the drinks, and they're in the beginning about the chief health officer. So I want to share something. A quick WhatsApp I had with someone who came to last week's Charge of Life, and he had an issue he wanted to sort out. You don't know this, but it's been sorted. So he goes, "Hey mate, all sorted, dude. The customer care team was so amazing. One day I'll come back to prescribing them again. He meant to supplements. He's had them for a few months. Taken off. Thanks for the reminder. I need to reply to them and thank them for their amazing service." So
give her a round of applause. And well done for bringing it up. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Another question. I usually train because I'm trying to do my black belts. I usually train on a Tuesday night. So is it always going to be on a Tuesday night?
Doesn't have to be. Can I take that?
We mixed it. Last week was
okay.